Oh.
So
Oh. Welcome to the open mayor and, excuse me, mayor and council meeting, April 12, 2023. Welcome, everybody. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. The meeting will adjourn no later than 10 p.m. unless a majority of the council members that are present vote to extend the time. So at this time, I ask you to look at your phones. I'm going to look at my phone. Make sure it's on mute. And please refrain from texting. It is very discourteous, disruptive, and if anybody up here on the dais is using their phone, it could be construed as a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And stand. And while you're standing for the moment of silence, I learned today that a former, I think he was on the Rec Commission. Chairman, Vince Letizia, longtime resident, passed away. And I was told he passed away suddenly on Easter Sunday. His family, they live in Delaware. And I was also told that there might be a memorial service sometime in June. If I hear any information, I will let everyone know. So prayers and sympathies to the family of Vince Letizia. He was very, very, a big prominent figure down at Rec, and all the children knew him back then. Please be seated. Roll call.
Mayor Schwager,
Here.
Councilman Kamala, Councilman McCann,
Here.
Councilman Pignatelli,
Here.
Councilman Saliani,
He had to go home. He's not well.
Councilman Slazinski,
Here.
Councilman Talamini.
Here.
And motions?
I make a motion to excuse Councilman Saliani and Kamala.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
My mayor's report. One of the many things I do as the mayor of Oakland is I attend a lot of meetings. I go to mayor's meetings, I go to meetings with other elected officials, and it's a good place to go because we share ideas, we learn what's happening, and we network. And we share a lot of good things and bad things, things that work and things that don't work. On Tuesday morning, I attended the it's an early morning meeting in Hackensack, the Bergen County League of Municipalities. And the guest speaker was Dr. Eric Friedman. He is the president of Bergen Community College. And if any of you have, and know anybody who goes to Bergen Community College or been on the campus, I know, Pat, your wife works there.
Yes.
It is incredible, the facilities that they have and the programs. And we were told, he spoke, and we were told that Bergen Community College is ranked #1 community college in the state for all their activities. It's really incredible school. And two things I took away from that, oh, actually three things. They're building a new building, a culinary, for the culinary department. It's going to be like a real restaurant and learn about hospitality. And it's going to be a dining room. It sounds like it's going to be incredible. Another thing I learned is that they have senior classes for seniors, not seniors at high school, but seniors, people, adult seniors. And you can go take continuing legal education classes online through Bergen Community. So they have a great website, I'm told, to go look on it. And this was an interesting one. They are, the community college has launched multiple programs that provide students with the opportunity to gain a foothold, to gain a foothold in the cannabis industry under the supervision of Dr. Stephen Fisher towards the Cannabis Certification Program. There's going to be a Cannabis Certification Program, and they're going to be one of the first schools to issue it. And they have a greenhouse, and it's amazing. And they have a greenhouse with all kinds of plants, so you can buy plants there, not just cannabis plants, but flowers, plants. It's an amazing program. So, everybody who puts the nose down, oh, Bergen Community College, it is incredible. And they're always inviting you to go and visit, and it was very nice. Then today I attended another meeting. This was just for mayors, in case anybody asked up here. It was a mayor's roundtable with Congressman Pasquale. And guess what I brought up? As I was looking at
let's
it?
guess.
Yes.
Cannabis.
So we did talk about the bridge. Very much so. I think that's tired of hearing me. I said, well, you're not getting rid of me so fast. And I got a lot of insight into what we can do. So I'm just going to give dates to remember. There's a lot of dates. Spring is here. We're outdoors. A lot's happening. So these are just dates to remember. But if you go to the Borough website, you can get information about all these activities, more details. And the first one is April 22nd. It's a Saturday. And from 9 a.m. to noon, the Borough is having their styrofoam collection drive. And it will be in Municipal Plaza. The first hour of the styrofoam collection drive are for Oakland residents only. And then afterwards, all Bergen County residents can go. They will accept only clean, dry styrofoam. You cannot, they will not accept, not acceptable, the packing peanuts or food containers. So they do not get recycled. Then on April 27th, there's an Arbor Day celebration at the Senior Center. And then following that, on April 30th, you can pick up free tree saplings. They will be given out outside the library, hours 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that's on April 30th. Back to April 29th, Saturday has become a very busy Saturday day. The Marine, everybody remember the Marine breakfast at the American Legion Hall? They're back. Yes. So it will be, and he's all excited. Good breakfast. Sponsored by the Marines in the American Legion Hall, and the first one will be on April 29th. Then from there, you go to the Danny D building in the rec complex because it is the Borough Cleanup Day sponsored by the Environmental Commission. And so after you have your breakfast, you can go meet over by the Danny D building at 9 o'clock and start helping with the cleanup of town. Now then at 1 o'clock is the softball clinic, if it's still that day, but I forgot what field you told me it was. 3. Field 3. So that, and it's Mr. Light. He does an incredible job with the young student, the young athletes. So that's in the afternoon. Then in the evening, the Oakland Fire Department has a dinner, an annual beefsteak dinner, where they're honoring 3 members of the fire department for their 25 years of dedicated service. So I wish, and that is for Michael Curran, Curtis Leroy, and Thomas Torpy. And to the 3, and to all the Oakland volunteer firemen, thank you for your service. You're incredible. And don't forget, if you have children interested in the police department's Junior Police Academy, this year it will be July 14th through July 21st. It is a fantastic program. If you ever want to see what they do, you go on the day of graduation and they have a video of all their activities, and all the adults are sitting there jealous because they wish they could have been there. It's a wonderful, wonderful program for our children. Go to the Borough website for sign up and registration. And at this point, we are going to open for the public. Because I don't
Make a
have.
motion to open to the public.
Second?
In favor?
Aye.
Good evening.
Name and address.
Excuse me?
Name and address, even though we know you.
My name is Kevin Heffernan.
You have to speak loud because the microphone's up on top.
Oakland, New Jersey. I've lived in town 44 years. As a preface, I'd like to address the topic of the banner announcing the advent of Bush Plaza Park, which is strangely, seemingly has become a very political item. Tonight, I speak as a proud committee team member, but not for the committee. Changing the banner in this form soils the will of the team and disparages every team member. If someone wishes to discuss the issues of the banner, please do so with me. I created it, so let's begin. The first item is that I've been authoritatively affirmed that the banner copy, layout, and design are in fact copyrighted by me, and I am the owner of the copyright. To quote, "Copyright is a form of intellectual property that protects original works of authorship. A copyright is secured automatically when the work is created as long as the work contains a sufficient degree of originality," and it does. And please permit me to add that the concept of sovereign immunity relative to copyright does not apply to municipalities. I own the copyright, the banner is protected, and any change in the banner as I created it requires my personal approval. Second, the banner was never discussed or presented at any ad hoc committee meeting. It was created by me and sent by email on 3/23 to all members of the ad hoc committee, requesting their decision on a yay or nay basis for its use in Bush Plaza. All members responded and unanimously and enthusiastically endorsed it. The banner was not the idea of the mayor, as she was informed only after the fact. Her role was entirely passive, limited to informing me of the copy suggestions from various sources, many of which were accommodated. If there are issues with the banner, it should be addressed to me as the creator or to the chair of the committee, and not to the mayor. Third, with regard to the mayor's role, Bush Plaza Park was her idea, and she initiated an ad hoc committee with 5 appointed can-do members, in addition to Steve Saliani, who was a superb liaison. She was not a member of the committee even. Fourth, the approval of the placement of the banner in Bush Plaza Park was not sought because the ad hoc committee, as an extension of municipal government, which is permitted to not adhere to its own regulations. Fifth, there was absolutely nothing in the banner that is not absolutely factual, true, and accurate. Precisely, what is the issue with it? Sixth, the banner is not political, and no one has yet publicly announced their intent to run for mayor in November. It simply states an announcement by the person whose idea for the park is becoming a reality. Seventh, the banner screams and supports bipartisanship, something very needed in Oakland. And it simply acknowledges her role as mayor, period. It is not, and never was intended to be a political ad. Eighth, the ad hoc committee, as an element of municipal government, has the right and the authority to erect the banner in Bush Plaza. Council approval for the placement of the banner was not required and was not sought. Ninth, the majority of the members of the ad hoc committee feel very passionately about the banner and as it's currently created, with the words as currently stated. There is sufficient passion amongst the majority to resign en masse from the committee should there be a forced attempt to change the banner, thereby effectively dissolving the committee. 10th, any effort by this body to forcibly change the banner copy is an obvious partisan legislative exercise in censorship, a violation of the First Amendment. Do you really want the censor label and potential accusation, therefore? Is it worth it? Really, is it worth it? Please think about it. And finally, as a potential outcome of all that is said here with regard to changing the banner, the council would be required to create its own banner, distinct from the current one. Further, the council would be required to institute its own fundraising program and promotional materials, which I've also copyrighted. The fundraising program was designed to raise over $100,000 for the park and save Oakland taxpayer money. And all of this is in addition to any potential political fallout that might occur by attempting to change the banner. Do you really, really want to do this? Honestly, ask yourselves. The forced change of the banner is a multi-dimensional minefield for the council, devoid of any pleasant outcome. It's a violation of copyright and just isn't reasonable or smart. It's not even worthy of discussion by this body. Oakland has far, far larger issues that demand your first attention. For all the reasons and considerations noted here, I implore you to at least just leave it alone. Attempting to force change in the banner is a created environment where everyone loses. This council, the ad hoc committee, Oakland as a community, and the voters of Oakland. Attempts to do so might well be viewed as snatching failure from the jaws of success. In summary, why would you want to change the banner after all that's said here? Besides, minimally changing someone's copyright is not legally permitted. While I plead and urge you to simply leave the banner as is, it's entirely your choice to attempt to change it. But first, ask yourselves if this council has the prerogative or authority to do so. The implications are significant and the stakes are high. Again, I am open to discussion on the topic, but this is not the forum to do so. Your choices are clear, as you are at fork in the road. I see your choices as threefold. One, don't discuss the banner tonight, nor any further council meeting. Just let it be as is. Two, discuss an attempt to change the banner. Three, discuss the banner and authorize its production as is without further ado. Knowing all that you know now, I exhort you to choose wisely. Very, very wisely. Thank you very much.
Hello, Mayor.
Hi.
Mike Guardino, 34 Hopper Street. At the last meeting, which was 3 weeks ago, Mr. McCann left early once again. So I'd like to take the time to address some of the rhetoric, divisive rhetoric that he was spewing that night. As usual, when it comes to the committee, he likes to attempt to disparage the members, as well as our work. And if you notice, we went back and we watched a couple of the older meetings. There's a continued line of passive-aggressively attacking the borough clerk and the borough administrator because he can't find the ad hoc meeting minutes. But as the saying goes, you can't win an argument, you attack people personally. Now, also with the Cannabis Committee, he brings politics into everything. He was discussing our politics, or what he perceives to be our politics, perceives that who he thinks that we are voting for. And everything, it seems, comes down to politics. Politics over the issues critical to the residents of Oakland. I mean, using these tactics, really with its attempt to polarize the community, to get a political narrative that he wants to get. And only if you knew the people of Oakland, if you just knew the people of Oakland, spend some time with them, you'd see that this polarization just doesn't work with us. I mean, that's not what Oakland is. And now we're going to politicize the Bush Plaza banner. I mean, everything's going to become political. Everything's going to be political. We've been talking about how he's slowly trying to roll in a political swamp here in Oakland, and we're seeing it take place before our eyes. Now, as for the Cannabis Committee, everybody here knew what we were doing. Everybody knew. There was nothing was being done behind closed doors. When Grant was here, he was discussing. Pat, the mayor, every meeting they were discussing what was going on at the Cannabis Committee. There was no secrets. I even had sidebar conversations with some of the council members. Everybody knew what was going on. And the big thing was, as long as we didn't have retail in town, as long as we didn't have cannabis in the middle of town, which we all agreed on, and we didn't do. But what we've seen to hear is, once again, from Mr. McCann, he explains this as basically, we're doing things behind closed doors, that there was no transparency, which is anything but the truth. And then he continues to produce data, alleged data, which is nothing more than opinion-based. Again, we went back and we watched the shows, the meetings. They were basically opinion-based articles coming out of Great Britain and California. I mean, they're unrelated to what's going on here in Oakland. Over the past 8 months, Casala has done everything asked of them. Cannabis is legal in New Jersey. There's an ordinance in Oakland, and 68% of the town voted in favor of it. I know tonight there's going to be a resolution looking to put a ballot question out there, which I don't know if you realize or not, but we do have a representative republic here, and you guys are the representatives. If you want to continue with this big government questions on the ballots, it's your prerogative. You go ahead and do it. But my suggestion is that it reflects the ordinance. It does reflect some manipulative language, looking at get one person get the results that he's looking for. So again, like I've said many times, I've known most of you guys a long time. Eric and Steve aren't here. I've known them a long time. I know you guys are better than this divisive rhetoric, politicizing everything that we have heard. I'm just going to ask you guys tonight to think back to your roots, what you say you guys represent, and support freedom, support liberty, support the free market, and do not support this obstructionist authoritarianism we keep hearing. And siding with the residents of Oakland over Mr. McCann does not make you a traitor, regardless of how many times he tells you that. So, oh, by the way, have you gotten an apology yet? No, 9 weeks. 9 weeks a resident got bullied up here and hasn't been apologized by a member of the council.
Hello. How are you?
You still have to give your name and address, even though we know you.
Matt Gooder, 72 Highland Blossom Boulevard. Hope everybody had a good holiday. I did. So I decided to go back and watch the February 8th meeting because that's what started this. And Mr. McCann, look what you did. You've got people here, which is terrific. So I watched that meeting because I thought maybe I was being kind of harsh on you. Then I watched the whole thing and realized I wasn't. So I'm curious after your comments on 2.8 about your concern of pregnant women and newborns exposed to cannabis, if you've ever looked into other agents or toxins that cause harm to mothers and babies, such as FASD, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, okay, which I'm assuming probably does a lot more damage in cannabis because it's more readily available and more widely accepted. But you know, you're focusing on cannabis, which is your prerogative apparently. So I'm curious if you feel, if you remain on the council here, that if we should go ahead and start shutting down the restaurants that have a liquor license, close the liquor stores down, you know, because they all cause harm. And so while we're on that February meeting, I asked you during that meeting if you would think about giving back your campaign funds that you made at a cigar shop during one of your campaigns, I think 2017 maybe. And I haven't gotten a response to you because at the 2-hour and 36-minute mark of that meeting, and I quote, you said, never will I choose money over health, ever. So since tobacco products cause the same harm as cannabis to pregnant women and babies, according to the Surgeon General warnings, here's a few: tobacco smoke can harm your children, smoking during pregnancy stunts fetal growth, if you want to give that money back, or if you're a typical politician and you just talk out of both sides of your mouth. Last I checked, your campaign was in debt, so maybe you can't, but down the road maybe. So there's so many things that contribute, well, that Oakland has here that can contribute to poor health of our residents. Burger King, Taco Bell, KFC, they're all bad. All right, so people get to make choices. You know, that's what makes America beautiful. All right, they chose to elect you, which is still surprising to me, but it is what it is. So we're going to give them another choice, maybe in a year or so, when we get to recall you. You can laugh at it, but it's coming. So, and to the council that sits on this dais, you were elected to represent all of Oakland. You were not elected based on your political ideology. You need to make decisions that are best for Oakland and its 13,000 residents. Take a moment and think about what people talk about during these public comments when they come up here, in no particular order. Taxes, water issues, sewer issues, Patriots Bridge, potholes, the Van Allen House. I've never seen anybody come up here and talk about cannabis until February 8th, well, and when you guys presented your application. So this has become, a non-issue has become a big issue when you guys are ignoring the real issues that we care about. We, the people that vote for you. All right? You guys actually have an opportunity when somebody asks what you've done for Oakland. You know, I was instrumental in bringing a business into town that raises us some extra money, you know, $20,000 to $30,000 a year. It's not going to make a dent in my tax bill or your tax bill, but it's something, you know. Or you could just keep voting with the obstructionist and kick the can down the road. You know, think about it.
After you.
Main 187 West Oakland Ave. I want to thank everybody for the Easter egg hunt. It was a wonderful day. It just amazes me that we can have so many people in such a small area and everyone be happy. That's what Oakland should be all the time. Russ, you're always there to give a hand. You were out there spreading eggs. Mr. Salamini was there just in time with the mayor to hand out all of the 500 muffins that we had to get rid of. And kudos to the mayor, she stayed till the last one, man.
I didn't eat it.
I
And
ate a few.
they were good, they were good. And they were donated, by the way, from the guy who owns Trousers, so thank you to him very much. We're moving on to the Memorial Day Parade. This isn't a happy celebration, it's a memorial to those who died serving this country. And anybody who wants to march, all they have to do is send me an email. I will put them in the lineup. We are more than happy to have them. The bigger the better. Let's show our dedication to this country, to those who served, and to those who didn't come home. And there's very few people in this world that I really admire or respect. But this lady was one of them, and this is what she said. The Marines I have seen around the world have the cleanest bodies, the filthiest minds, the highest morale, and the lowest morals of any group of animals I have ever seen. Thank God for the United States Marine Corps. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Wow.
And we need that marijuana in this town.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Mike Lazanik, 145 Manitou Ave. I've been a resident of Oakland for 43 years. 3 items that I have to discuss. One is the condition of the roads. They're horrible. And so I spoke with, I don't know if that gentleman there is John Yakimek?
That's correct.
You are?
Yes.
All right. We met actually once at
Yes.
your sex house. Anyway, so I spoke with John, and I expressed my disappointment with the condition of the roads, and they were still working on them today on Lakeside, and I had to detour again. But I guess really what I'm asking is this the end product, or are they going to resurface the roads and make them what they once were, as opposed to what they are now? Because what they are now is not acceptable. I'm tired of going bumpity bump in my car down the roads. So anyway, that's number one. Number two, the water situation. Looking at the latest missive here, and I quote, the borough is prepared to accept bids for the construction once the NJDEP issues the required land use permits. When is that happening? Who has a handle on that? Because I talked with Kevin
Kevin
in the
Hill.
DPW months ago, and basically got the same answer, waiting for the NJDEP to resolve or make a decision or whatever they're going to do. So now it's 3 months later, 4 months, whatever it is. So it seems to me that somebody really needs to prod them along and get them going so that we can get the wells, the filters in the wells. And number three, the marijuana growing facility, let's do it. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, the majority of the people in this town voted for it. Okay, they want to sue us now? I mean, come on. This is really ridiculous. You know, they're out in wherever off West Oakland Ave, wherever they're going to be. I mean, they're out there, and what interference are they going to cause anybody, really? I mean, come on. Let's be realistic about this. That's all. Thank you.
This is for public comment, so we don't have a debate. So each of the council people write down what everybody says. I have notes to talk to you later. Hi.
Hi, Ann Cedar, 33 Winding Ridge. As a council, you're either not paying attention or you're fine with Councilman McGann running the show. He changed the order of the last meeting to get his agenda accomplished first because he had to leave the meeting early. He did it under the guise of getting the proclamation for the Sikhs done first, but that wasn't his true motivation because he wanted to he wanted to move up new business so he get his resolution on the agenda. I'm not surprised by his actions, I'm really not, but I am surprised by the rest of you. Like, it just seems like everyone's asleep at the wheel. He made his motion to change the agenda and nobody questioned it. Not a single question, like, why are we doing this? And what, you know, that was the opportunity to find out what was the real motivation, but everyone just went with it. And then we found out what the ulterior motive was. With regard to the resolution that he added to the agenda, 23-136, the question for the ballot, the residents already voted. Everyone who wanted to vote did. Anyone who chose not to vote, they lost their opportunity to be heard. That's how democracy works. We don't do a do-over until we get the results that we want. The residents don't want to pay for a ballot question. It's unnecessary, it's frivolous, and you should vote against that resolution. However, if you're going to vote for it, which honestly I'm assuming you will, based on what's been happening at these meetings, but if you're going to vote yes for it, you have to amend it, because the resolutions as it's written right now just has the 3 licenses for cultivation, manufacturing, distribution. There's 6 of them. So you have to put all 6 of them on the ballot, including retail. And you have to give the residents the opportunity to vote on all 6 licenses. You can't just cherry pick so that you can get the results that you want. You have to, if you're going to put it on the ballot, you have to open it up to all 6. What?
I said that stinks.
With regard to the resolution 23-128 for the Casala Cares cultivation license, just please finally vote yes and pass this. The residents already voted yes. For months now, residents have been showing up to these meetings speaking in support of the resolution. If you'll notice, there hasn't been a single resident come here speak against it. Not one, despite how many meetings that they could have shown up to speak against it. So vote yes to the cultivation license. Vote no to the ballot question. Let's just stop wasting time and money. Let's focus on the issues that we actually have to address for the benefit of the town as a whole. And I know there was an update for the Patriots Way Bridge, but I just, with regard to the repairs, I just want to know what the status of the funding is for the replacement of the bridge, where we are with that. And Mayor, if you had that meeting and there was other things that we can be doing, could we just have more information specifically what that is? Are we doing something new, different, better? Thank you.
I have all the comments here.
Good evening, Chopper Russo, 392 Rampart Valley Road. I know all of our lives have changed since 9/11, and I just wanted to point out that what we do at the Oakland Public Events with all our team members, we're very cognizant of it. We know that potentially we're always a soft target. So I want to commend our team members that we've contacted and have worked closely with the Oakland Fire Department, the ambulance, Anthony Marcaselli at DPW. Jimmy McWilliams just does a fabulous job. You know, when we're doing the Carnival, we're working with the OEM. Chief Sanzari, along with Brian Rowan and Stephen Albert, have helped us with the traffic. It's been a concerted effort. You know, you don't see it. We really don't want you to see it. But like we're even, you know, for the Carnival, they bring in the camera tower with the lights. We get water barriers. You know, we take it serious. We don't want to become a statistic. And I understand that the Board of Ed recently passed and is going to present to the council today to do the SLEO 3 police officers in the grammar schools. It's a great idea. You know, whenever I sell a house in Oakland, I did one today, I tell everybody, I've been taking an unofficial account. We have 230 active and retired police officers in town from different, we have state troopers, we got FBI, DEA, TSA, every county, every town in Bergen County is represented. We have Bergen County sheriffs, Passaic County sheriffs, got a guy from Belleville. So I tell them when I sell them a house, I said, if you hear a shot fired, one of your neighbors will take care of it. But in regards to this SLEO 3, it's great because you're going to get retired officers. They're already being paid a pension. They already got the benefits. You know, I think that's a fiscally good deal. Guy I grew up with was a sergeant in Wyckoff. He's at Northern Highlands. You know, if you stay with the retired ones, that's the way to go. And you know, Oakland, we got a whole bunch of them. So I do hope we stay fiscally responsible and stay with the retired officers. And if we can use them somehow, I think it's only for the schools, but it might be an area to use for the different events we do. But again, like, we got OEM, we got Sanzari and his crew, you know, Anthony with his crew, our crew, you know, the fire and ambulance, we all pulled together. You know, we try to be behind the scenes, but I want everybody to know we take it serious, our responsibility, and we know we're a soft target. And with recent events in the schools, I'm glad that they did this, and but keep it the retired guys and gals. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Motion,
I was waiting.
Good evening, Michelle Eunice, 2 Rockledge. I saw the activity on the bridge today, so thank you all. John, thank you for all your hard work. Johnny Kemick for getting that done. I just was wondering if we, obviously you're going to give an update on funding and whatnot, but I'd also like to know what the timeline is of getting the bids in to do the center beam work or whatever that may be. Getting those proposals in, approving a proposal, getting the work started, and then how long the bridge will be closed while they make that repair. So if we can get some type of timeline, John, that would be great.
I think it's time for another meeting.
Okay.
What?
Okay, that'd be great. On that note, I did, and I'm sorry that Councilman Saliani isn't here because I really just wanted to give him kudos and thanks because I know he's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. He's been very good with me and giving updates. He's not the type that wants recognition or kudos, but I think he deserves it. So I just really wanted to say thank you to all the council that have done things. I don't want the residents to think that no one is doing anything because you're doing it behind the scenes, and I just want to say thank you. Thanks.
Hello. Andrea Levy, 780 Ramapo Valley Road. I don't know which way to start. Okay, the banner, Bush Plaza, couldn't be a more petty display that I could ever imagine. Please, move on. We don't need this. This type of I just can't believe we're even having this type of conversation. It's absolutely ridiculous. Water came up again. I get the whole timeline of it. It takes time. DEP stinks. We all know that. But what can we do between now and the next, was it 10 months or so that we're looking at? Oh, it's more than 10 months, I'm sorry. Can we get a filling station, perhaps? I know some towns have that available, where you set up an area where it is filtered and you have a filling station that people can come, bring their own big, 5-gallon, 10-gallon, whatever you can lift, jug just for that purpose. It doesn't solve the problem. Please don't misunderstand. I don't think that that's a complete fix, but maybe it's a little something for us, in the meantime. Again, the cannabis, I am opposed to having to vote for something that I've already voted for. I voted yes. I deserve a yes. That's all there is to it. And to follow that up, if you are going to do that, what you're looking to remove it, that's your purpose. What are you going to do to replace the income that we would be getting from it? And yeah, of course. But even over and above that, 2% of that amount, no, it's not a huge amount, but it's a start. It is absolutely a start. But what else are you guys working on to bring money into this town? I'm not just talking about prettying it up. What else is being done to drive more ratables into this town? That doesn't necessarily drive population up. I mean, that's another side to it. We need to keep our population kind of where it is, but we need more ratables, because otherwise, it could be a sinking ship. Don't want to see that. And again, I think you said 9 weeks on the apology. I said every single time, I will keep coming up here and mentioning that until I hope there's an apology today. I'm going to be positive about it. And actually, Chopper, your comments about the...
He's over there.
That way. I knew I'd find you eventually. I think that's a great point about the retired police officers, absolutely. And since I have the platform, I'm going to use it because Eric is not here today. A couple of things for the arts meeting. We have a meeting Monday at 7 p.m. at the, different hat on, happy hat. Arts in Oakland. The meeting is Monday, 7 p.m. at the Senior Center. Everybody is welcome to come join us. We have a lot of projects we're working on. One is a mural down in the recreation area. There's going to be a contest for people to join and submit their artwork, so be looking out for that post soon. We also have a open mic night, and that will be held at Real Brave on April 27th at 7 p.m. We invite you to come down for that. We also are doing our 3rd annual Arts in Oakland Festival, which is both visual, tries to talk fast, visual art, gallery style, and also performing arts. And we invite our Oakland residents to join us. Pete, come on down, play for us. We need more people to join us. Yep, the dates of that is June 9th through the 11th. The Flow Green Film Festival will have an outdoor movie, June 3rd, Veterans Park. We're looking forward to that one. I think it's cloudy with a chance of meatballs, so families come on down. And the next hike is going to be May 7th, 11 a.m. At the lower lot for the Skyline Drive Loop. And you'll get to the poetry contest. Thank you very much. Too many things.
Anyone else? This is it now.
Motion to close?
Maybe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Speaking of arts, this was a perfect segment. We have Arts in Oakland Poetry Contest certificates. And Ramona Volk is the winner. But I heard they were very long. So I was told they're all on the website.
They will be posted on the website,
And
yes.
you can find the poems there. So this is a certificate, and it's a certificate of achievement, Ramona Volk, Oakland Arts Committee Poetry Contest winner. The Mayor and Council of the Borough of Oakland congratulate you on your recognition as the first place winner in the Oakland Arts Committee Poetry Contest for your poem, Siren Song. Beautiful. And we send our congratulations to you. Thank you so much. There you go. Not over face. Not over.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. It was beautiful.
I just wanted to
Say, why don't you say at the microphone so they can hear you?
I'm gonna cry, because I wrote it so long ago. I went through a period in my life where I wanted to write poetry. And when I saw the entries, all I wanted to do was help support the arts in Oakland. But this is very special.
Good.
I don't think she's here.
She is the runner-up for her poem, Voices in My Head. Again, it's on the website, right? All the poems.
They will be posted.
Beautiful. Voices in My Head. Is she there? And we have Marisol Kozlowski. And she is a runner-up for her poem, The Poem. That's the name of it, The Poem. Very clever. And there will be a photo below. Sharon Clark is also a runner-up. And she wrote believing, and that's always good, believing. So you can read them all on the website. And if you're listening, you can go to Borough Hall and pick up your certificate. At this time, we have minutes from the March 22nd, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Solzinski?
Abstain.
Palomini?
Yes.
We have minutes from the executive session of March 22nd, 2023. If there's going to be any discussion, it must be done during the executive session. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Will there be discussion? Roll call.
Council members McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Saliani? I'm sorry, Solzinski?
Abstain.
Palomini?
Yes.
We have appointment to the Arts Committee.
Another one.
Yes. And is there a maximum because you have a full slate?
I'm kind of more the merrier.
Okay, so therefore,
Red maximum.
Shaika Hopkins.
Oh, Shy.
Oh, Shy. Oh, that's
Shy.
where I know her.
You
That's
know
right.
Shy.
I know Shy
Yeah.
from Flow Follies.
We love Shy.
Yeah, she was in the scene I was in, Flow Follies.
She can sing.
Oh, she's incredible. What a voice. And the next one is the Arts Committee. Oh, sorry. So I nominate her name. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Shy, I didn't realize what Shy, an incredible voice. Everybody should listen to Shy sing. I hope she sings at the art festival. The next one is appointment to emergency management. That is a mayoral appointment, and Ed Tryon, who's been a member since I've been mayor and before. So thank you, Ed Tryon. Proclamation, this is in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's also, if I'm not mistaken, Autism Month, right, to recognition of autism. Whereas mental health is essential to overall health and well-being, and all people experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and should feel comfortable in seeking help and support to manage these times. And whereas like physical illness, mental illness is a medical condition that can be treated effectively through prevention, early identification, and early intervention. And with effective treatment, all individuals with mental illness can make progress towards recovery and lead full, productive lives. And whereas mental illness affects 1 in 5 people in the United States, and the experience can be devastating to individuals and families with little knowledge or access to mental health services. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has created a multitude of mental health challenges for our community members of all ages, and connecting people to care is more important than ever. And whereas May is annually recognized throughout the nation as Mental Health Awareness Month, and whereas it is the 10th anniversary of the beginning of the Stigma-Free Initiative in Bergen County, with Paramus initially declaring itself a stigma-free zone in 2013. And whereas the Borough of Oakland declared themselves as a stigma-free zone and will continue to support the Stigma-Free Initiative. And whereas stigma-free zones aim to inspire public interest and open dialogue about stigma, raise awareness of the diseases of mental illness, and create a culture wherein residents who have the diseases of mental illness feel free to seek treatment for the disease without fear of stigma. And whereas local resources are available to treat the disease of mental illness, so no one resident needs to suffer alone or feel helplessness. And now therefore be it resolved that the Borough of Oakland recognizes the community needs and continues to support the efforts of the County of Bergen in continuing to be a stigma-free zone. And so we are official, so let me put that up. All right, we have a raffle license, application 1452, and it is for the Sports Association for a cash 50/50 raffle from June 16th, raffle. From June 16th to June 18th at 24 Lawler Drive in Oakland. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we have resolutions. We'll do the consent agenda, but before we do, I'm going to pull out, so it's not together. Resolution 23-128, resolution in support of application for Class 1 cannabis cultivation license in the Borough of Oakland. So I'm pulling that out, we'll discuss that separately. And the other one I'm pulling out is 23-136, resolution to authorize a non-binding ballot question related to permissibility of cannabis businesses in the Borough of Oakland. All right, so the others are 23-134, authorize grant submittal to the fiscal year 2023 NJDCA Historic Trust Preserve, New Jersey Historic Preservation Funds, and in an amount of $61,125. 23-135, award contract to Boswell Engineering for engineering services for drainage improvement project, not to exceed $25,100. Task 1, topographic survey and mapping. Task 2, design and bid services. Our CFO has certified that funds are available. 23-137, remember I pulled down 136. Resolution authorizing fee structure for Sustainable Oakland Green Team plant sale. The Oakland Green Team wishes to hold a pollinator plant sale in 2023. The fee structure for the plant sale must be established. A set of 3 for $40, a set of 6 for $72, and a set of 9 for $102. 138. Authorize grant submittal to fiscal year 2023 Association New Jersey Environmental Commission's annual stewardship grant program for Bush Plaza Park native planting project. 139 is the authorize the purchase of turnout gear, and it's for the total amount of $49,426. Our CFO has certified that funds are available. 23-140 is to authorize auction of borough surplus vehicle and equipment. There is a list that you can find at Borough Hall. The surplus property to be sold is as follow: a Seagrave ladder truck, a Western Ultra Mount plow inventory, Western Uni Mount plow inventory, Ferris lawnmower, a Ferris lawnmower, a Bobcat combine, bucket model, a Clipper road saw model, a gallon brine tank, and another gallon brine tank. All these are listed, you can find them at Borough Hall. 23-141 is to hire a Department of Public Works seasonal laborer, Eugene McMahon, effective April 17, 2023, at a salary of $19 per hour. 23-142 is authorized accrued time payout for Sandra Steele. Sandra Steele used to be our registrar and also worked at the Board of in the Health Department downstairs. She left. She has accrued time for sick, vacation, personal compensatory time, accumulated in the amount of $991.83. 23-143 is award contract to Rippled Waters Engineering, LLC, for permit assistance for the Ramapo River Restoration Project. Total cost not to exceed $750. And the task is New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection pre-application meeting, and our CFO has certified that the funds are available. 23-144 is to authorize refunds of recreation fees, the amount of $125 to the Esterlis family, 717 Oneida Trail, Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Any of those wish to pull out?
Yes,
Which one?
23-128.
It's already
I pulled out.
Oh, you did? I'm
I
sorry.
pulled that out, and I,
Yep, okay. I heard that.
remember I said in the beginning I
You're not
pulled
going to
those.
just go on consent with that one?
No. No, I think we should pull those out. So the rest are a consent agenda. Anybody, any others? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Council members McCann,
Yes.
Pignatelli.
Yes.
Slazinski.
Yes.
Palomino.
Yes.
All right, so these are the ones I pulled out, and you want to also pull it out. So here we are, 20. Now, by the way, all those resolutions that are in the consent agenda has always been discussed ahead of time, so when we do this consent agenda, it's not as if we're just rushing through, it's been discussed. Okay, 23-120, a resolution in support of application for Class 1 cannabis cultivation license in the Borough of Oakland. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. So, was the motion, you asked for a motion to approve? I think you want
That was the
to have a discussion.
resolution.
You want
No, the
discussion
resolution in
first.
support of application.
So you want a motion to introduce?
That,
You said motion to
Oh,
approve.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got ahead of myself. All right. The resolution states, in support, not to, in support of application for a Class 1 cannabis cultivation license in the Borough of Oakland. This is Resolution 23-128. Do you still make that motion, Councilman?
Yes.
And do you still second it?
Yes.
Okay. Now discussion.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I would ask Crisala's Care, I have some questions with regard to Crisala's Care requirement that we placed on them a couple weeks ago at the last meeting. We asked for an engineer's report as it relates to the water runoff, given the water problems in the town. And what we got back, Council, was a letter from an ILSRP, which is not an engineer. This is a company that specializes in remediation. They are not qualified to speak to the runoff issues as it relates to the proposed closed system that you have suggested. An ISLP is a remediation specialist, and the metaphor to make it simpler, they specialize in cleanups. If we have a gas station here in New Jersey and we want to put a McDonald's on it, okay? What you would do is you would bring in a company like this, an expert in remediation and cleanup, and they are directed by the DEP to provide information, data, and reports. They are not the people that you would call to opine upon the safety of the gasoline pumps and the underground storage tanks prior to their arrival. I had conversations with our borough attorney, I had conversations with our engineer, and he concurs that they are not engineers qualified to speak to the issue that's at hand.
Could we hear from our borough engineer?
Yes, Mayor. So I draw the council's attention to my April 6th letter to the council, and I'm going to read some passages from it. We did indeed get a letter report from Ms. Jessica DeGraff, President, and a licensed site remediation professional of a company known as ILSRP. Quite honestly, I was expecting a report from an engineer. However, I wrote the report on April 6th, the day after I had received the LSRP report. And I talked with other LSRPs within Boswell Engineering about the report. They did say that an LSRP to give an opinion on a closed system is appropriate. I did place in my third paragraph what my understanding of the governing body's concerns were at the previous meeting, and the concerns surround the potential for an adverse effect to the borough's environment and infrastructure regarding the use and disposal of water, condensate, and/or wastewater. The report by the LSRP just basically said it's a closed system and that none of this would be released to the environment. I did say in my closing paragraph that particular inquiries with regard to an engineer opining on this matter, I felt would be more appropriate during the site plan review process before the planning board. So if I misunderstood what the governing body wanted us to remark on, I apologize. However, my report of April 6th states what I thought the governing body's concerns were and that they were addressed.
And what you're saying is that even if it's approved here, they have to go before the planning board, and that's where all these questions will be raised and have to be satisfied.
That's what I'm saying in my report, that if the governing body relies upon the opinion of a professional engineer licensed in the state of New Jersey, that under normal circumstances, that would be done at the planning board level under that scrutiny.
Mayor, I also thought...
John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
John, I have a question. We had a conversation this morning, and you said to me that the ISLRP is not qualified to speak to the efficiency of the Scotland Coal system. Did you not say that to me?
I did say that, and
Okay.
I said that in the particulars of it.
Right. So they're not qualified to speak to the issue that we asked them to speak to.
Well, I'm trying to understand what the entire governing body wanted.
Okay. I want to ask the attorney a question. Nima.
Wait a minute. Does the council, is it acceptable for the council to have questions asked to the applicant for this? Does anybody mind?
I would like to.
Okay. Please come up to the microphone and introduce yourself and who you are and your title.
Nima Ameri of the Ameri Law Firm. I represent Crisalla.
Nima, quick question. Were you advised to provide an engineer's report from our borough attorney?
No. I was advised, and I'm sure you guys can go back and hear the prior meeting, that you guys could use an engineering report or other similarly situated professional. We brought up at the end of the meeting, which I believe at that point, Mr. McCann, unfortunately you're no longer present, asked for specificity on it, and I'm sure had you been president of the rest of the governing board, you would have heard that.
I listened to the meeting.
If I may, sir.
I listened to the meeting.
Let him speak.
I'm sure you did, and I'm not opining as to whether you went back and
listened. All right,
listened.
this is not a debate, just speak, go ahead.
Yeah, I want the record to be clear, that's not opining. Based off of my knowledge, I don't know what you do on your time, but when it was said, it was a similarly situated professional. We had multiple questions. In fact, we followed up. I followed up with Mr. Gilson. We had a couple options. There were engineers on that list. Unfortunately, and to the point of Mr. McClave, some of the things that the engineer would in fact actually need, right, would have to come forward through that more rigorous planning board stage, such as additional architectural drawings and things like that. For the purposes of this opinion and what we believed and what we took from what the governing body wanted, this was sufficient. Now, we agree wholeheartedly that when we do go before the more rigorous standards of the planning board and the analysis, these are all things that will be asked. In fact, we felt this at all times would have been a planning board issue, and we would need a professional engineer to opine on these in that planning board process, and they will have the ability to then have the full architectural drawings, which, as you all know, is nearly 6 figures, and that investment will go in, and the planning board will review it, and they will make that final decision based off of engineering reports and otherwise.
Mr. Gilson, we had a conversation today. Did you not tell me that you advised Mr. Amari to get an engineer's report?
I told him to get a licensed professional, which has an implied value in my mind that is a qualified professional to opine on this. As to whether this particular report qualifies, I have to defer to Mr. Kemet, because I can't issue an engineering opinion as to whether...
That was my question. My question is, did you not tell me...
This is not a testimony.
Did you not tell me that you told Mr. Amari to get an engineering report?
I don't think it would be appropriate. Mr. Gilson is the attorney for the council, and if he's going to discuss.
I just asked him,
Yeah, but
I'm
you're-
trying to confirm a
I'm
conversation.
just saying, as an attorney, I'm sure you can appreciate asking an attorney-client privilege question would
I saw
void the
it, so-
entire
But he
attorney-client
just
protections of the whole
answered it. Just a
council.
minute,
He didn't
everybody.
answer it.
He asked the question, he answered it, and he said he was, say what you just said, repeat it.
I said that he needed to get a licensed professional to opine on this. He did present me a list of professionals. This is all public documents anyone can obtain. And my opinion was it was inappropriate as me, as the borough attorney, to recommend a specific individual. I just recommended my particular advice that this should be a licensed professional, and it should be someone that is qualified to opine on this issue. And I have to leave that to Mr. Yukemik, because I'm an attorney, I'm not an engineer. I cannot say whether the report that's given from an engineering point is sufficient.
So, Mr. Yukemik, is this a licensed professional that can answer these questions?
This is a licensed professional in the state of New Jersey that can answer these questions.
What questions are we asking?
I just want the board to understand, we will have a licensed engineer for the planning board.
planning board.
There's no question about
They will
that.
have to have an engineer.
There's no question about that we will need a professional engineer with architectural drawings and everything else that at the heightened level of the planning board. We fully understand that, absolutely.
This is only step one. The main step is at the planning board, where everybody can speak, the professionals will be there, our planner will be there, our engineer will be there, our attorney will be there, we'll see all the plans.
We don't
the
expect it
public
to
will
be an easy
invited.
process whatsoever. We understand these are your concerns, and we understand that we have to address those concerns in whatever detailed levels at that point you guys want. But once we have what would otherwise, and again, we're not approving the cannabis today, we're just basically passing a resolution that would take us to the state, which would bring us back to then go through your approval process. You know, we understand that's a much
So my
heightened
opinion,
standard.
so Mr. Yukimik is the person who gave the opinion, is he a licensed, is she a licensed professional?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Marty, who is the designated master grower? Who is the master grower, which is required under the statute for Kursalica?
I'm not prepared to answer that question because I don't know that off the top of my head. If you'd like, I'm happy to go back and research it, review the application, and supplement
The
you with an
report
answer.
that you submitted relies heavily on the fact that there is going to be a master grower. Are you representing to this council that you don't have one now?
No, that wasn't my answer. My answer to you was, standing before you today, I do not know the name of that individual because I haven't read that application in God knows how long.
Mr. Mayor, if you consulted with your clients, would they know the answer to this question?
I'm sure I could take them outside and ask them.
Well, let's go through all the other questions you have.
That was it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I don't think I've read the application in quite some time.
Just the reason that you didn't get an engineer, was it monetary, or was it time, was it, I mean, like, why did you go with, and, you know, it just seemed like.
Sure. Why we went with that individual was we felt that that was the qualified individual, and I believe that based off of, and I apologize, it's Boswell McClave Engineering, you're not Mr. I immediately realized that, but I tried to avoid addressing that faux pas, but I will do that because now I'm facing you again, it's awkward.
You don't even look like Mr. McClure.
Yeah. But anyway, to your point, we thought that that was a qualified individual, and it appears that it was in that context a qualified individual. Had there been, and I don't, you were here, I believe, Mr. Talamini. You know, I was really trying to narrow down exactly what we wanted, and frankly, we did get a lot of guidance on it because some of the people that we initially thought were qualified, we were basically told they were not. We had to be a licensed professional, and this is a licensed professional, and they can opine as to this being a closed system. Also, costs, while not the only factor, looking at it as a secondary factor, you have to understand too that an engineer is not going to just write an initial report, right? So they have a stamp, it goes on it, they need to review certain documents that would just be impossible to put in front of them that don't really impact on the type of system, but go into nuances and details that are more necessary for a planning board application. And in fact, some of the engineers that we reached out to, just in terms of time constraints, you know, we're very busy, and you know, we had a list of a bunch of individuals, and we felt that this was what the council wanted. It was no intention to somehow circumvent that. Look, it was a licensed professional, they can opine as to a closed system. If that's not exactly what you guys wanted, I apologize, but we believe that that was.
I just, when I'm reading the letter, I mean, it was ILSRP, I was like, what is this? I mean, it was, to me.
I Googled them too, so,
Right,
yeah.
it was like what, I didn't know what they did, I didn't know.
Yeah,
It was concerning, that's all.
Well, my clients did the investigation on it, and then, my context was as it relates to, I figured they're qualified, because also, right, runoff is a pollutant, so that's the concern, right? Running off, and these guys deal with pollutants, and they can discuss systems and how those systems can leak. So, while to Mr. McCann's point, when you do have an issue such as a contamination, well, that contamination came from a runoff, right? It came off from a discharge from something that held a material that otherwise leaked or ran off into the soil, water, or something of that nature. So, people who understand the systems and understand vice versa. And again, we ran it by, and we were given sort of we were under the understanding that this was fine and this was sufficient as a licensed professional. I believe the feedback I got was it was unsigned, and we needed to get you guys a signed copy, which we immediately reached out and requested a signed copy and circulated.
If I may finish?
Yeah.
I did read the letters. A couple of things stood out to me. This ILSRP person who signed it said that the wastewater, quote, the wastewater does not pose a risk or impact the environment. That's putting their license online, I would think, concerning that. And the other thing is that it is a closed loop system. And that through evapotranspiration and some other, I didn't bring the letter with, all my notes with me, I must have left them on the computer, but anyway. I did find that they did address it. In regards to whether or not it's an engineer, I don't have an idyllic memory, but I remember our borough attorney saying it needs to be a licensed person, which this person is licensed. So they are putting their license on the line to make a statement like this. Whereas I do recognize you have to have an engineer. And I know you accept that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, as the mayor has said before, our planning board is very thorough, telling you ahead of time, so you don't say nobody ever told you, because it's going to be on the minutes. You're going to have an engineer for that, and you're going to have an engineer regarding odor control. So, ahead of time.
Yeah, we spoke to highly respected engineer. I won't say the name now. We based off time constraints as well as an issue retaining him, but he's used by many municipalities throughout the state of New Jersey. I don't think there's going to be even a question as to disqualification.
And I know the diversity of Boswell Engineering. I'm sure you. I shouldn't say I'm sure. I'm asking you. Do you have someone who could address odor problems or air filtration?
We do have an environmental group consisting of LSRPs and other environmental specialists that can address it. So yes is the answer to the question.
And at a planning board, you question everything.
And
He's on our planning board.
And they have to swear an oath.
Yeah, I want everyone to know.
I would like to make one clarification, which is, I said licensed professional, which I'm a licensed professional. It had to be someone in the field. So for that, I rely on Mr. Yukemic, and I think he's given his opinion on that. But just for future, just because we say licensed professional, if an orthopedic surgeon had issued this report, I don't think we'd be talking about it as.
Well, next time
like I said.
No, but I think it doesn't. I think it's Mr. Yukemic's decision as the engineer as to whether he believes this is a sufficient report or not.
Like I said,
We'll need an engineer at the planning board.
For
Yes.
full disclosure, I was a little surprised that I got something from an LSRP and not a civil engineer. I wasn't thinking LSRP, quite frankly. However, when I showed it to our LSRPs and our professional engineers within Boswell, they felt that this was acceptable for the time at this particular moment. But if I misunderstood what the governing body wanted, then, we could go back to the drawing board.
John,
Well, they will at the planning board.
John, I respectfully wanted to say that that's not what you said to me this morning. We discussed the sentence, therefore, we believe the report has reasonably addressed the concerns of the governing body. And you said to me, that's a stretch. You also said to me...
Well, it's
did you-
always a stretch, Mr. McCann, because
It's always a stretch? Did you say
I
that to me
always,
this morning?
I always try to understand what the body as a whole wants rather than one individual.
Right, but did you say that always, it's always a stretch? You admitted to, you also said to me that the opposite. You said to me, Boswell engineers said they weren't qualified to speak on the closed systems. So I'm putting that, Mayor, I'm just putting that on the record. That's not the content of my conversation this morning. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked him the question and relied on what he said to me this morning.
We appreciate your question,
was
Mr.
asked, the
McCann.
was
If you have any further ones, we're always happy to address any concerns you may have.
All right, do you have any other questions?
Well, no, the master grower is a key person.
Yeah, again, I couldn't tell you. I can ask my clients if that's a question that you want answered immediately.
No, what are you doing for, you can't get a license without a master grower.
And I'm sure that they have a very qualified master grower, but again, I have no idea right now standing here before you because I've not read the application any time recently, and I have many other names and cases in my head. But I can, again, like I said, if it's that concern to you, I can ask them right now if they have the name of that master grower. But to your point, they can't get a license without a qualified one, and that will likely be addressed by the state, as well as I believe when it comes back here, you have certain qualifications you can place on it and review it as well, and that's something that you guys will take into consideration.
One final question. Are they relying on themselves to be the master growers?
So to answer that, I'd have to know who the master grower is, and I believe
what I'm asking you is, are they themselves going to be the master grower?
No, I understand your question, Mr. McCann, but that would imply that I know who the master grower is, right? So for me to say who's going to be the master grower, whether it's them or someone else, would imply that I know who it is, and I think I was very clear. I have no idea who their master grower is intended to be. So how could I tell you whether they intend on being the master grower if I don't know who the master grower is?
Well, my question to you earlier was, you said you did know, but you weren't prepared to say.
No.
No, he said the engineers.
No,
All right,
I don't know.
at this point, he doesn't have a name for master grower. Next question.
That's it.
All right.
So
All right.
Can I just ask?
You have a question?
Mr. Gilson.
Yes. Would you like me to explain the process of how this works?
With just the questions that we have, the check the boxes.
Yes.
Where are we?
So my two outstanding concerns as of the previous meeting were the ability of the company to provide their own water, which they've addressed that they would, and the sufficiency of the stormwater management system, which, again, I have received the report. Me reading the report does absolutely no good. I'm not going to pretend to be an engineer, so I'm relying entirely, not to pass the buck, but I'm just not an engineer. I'm relying entirely on Mr. Yukemic's opinion as to whether this sufficiently addresses the concerns and the...
Mr. Yukemic, was it sufficiently addressed?
Well, I thought so, from
Okay.
what I heard at the last council
Okay,
meeting.
so at this point, I will call for a vote.
May I be seated?
Good question.
Council members McCann,
Abstain.
Pignatelli,
Yes.
Slozinski,
Yes.
Talamini.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Yes.
What's going to happen now for the benefit?
Yes, now we're going to hear the next step.
So at this point, there's kind of a twofold process. There's the state licensing requirement, which the applicants will have to go through, and there will also be the planning board process. The applicants will present the site plan. It's a permitted use in the zone, so we'll go to the planning board unless they build a new structure that's very high, which I assume will not be happening. And at that point, they will have to provide a full engineer's report, more information on odor control, and all of these things will again be analyzed by the planning board engineer, the planning board planner. They'll have to provide, again, with the location, I don't know how much of an issue this is going to be, traffic, parking, all those types of things. And at that point, residents will be able to both ask questions of any witnesses presented at the planning board hearing, and then at the conclusion of the witnesses, they will then be permitted, if they so choose, to present their own case, testify, present witnesses. They can present an engineer in opposition that says that the odor control that the applicants are proposing is not acceptable. And then it will be upon the planning board to consider the evidence presented by the applicant and the evidence presented by any objectors and determine whether the sufficiency of the municipal land use goals have been met. And at which time, if they do that, and then they also obtain their state license, and the resolution memorialized, they can move forward. But the idea that we're going to start growing tomorrow is not accurate.
In the meantime, I will make sure that everybody's aware of when they do go before the planning board. I also want to notify you that we have a very good planning board, and they investigate and they dissect every application. Our attorney, whenever he gets an application, I'm sorry, not our attorney, sorry, Joe. That's our planning board attorney, but our engineer, he usually comes with comments and papers with the applications. There's always plenty of time for the people to speak. There'll be questions, there'll be presentations, and it's at the senior center where there'll be a lot of room. And I do encourage everyone, when it does come before the planning board, we will make sure that the town is notified, and we invite everybody and encourage everyone to come to the planning board. And thank you for coming tonight. Okay, now, the second resolution dealing with cannabis, don't go away. Resolution 23-136, resolution to authorize a non-binding ballot question related to permissibility of cannabis businesses in the Borough of Oakland. And the resolution was drafted based on a request by Councilman McCann. And it starts with, whereas the 2020 general election of the Borough of Oakland participated in a statewide ballot question which asked, do you approve amending the Constitution to legalize a controlled form of marijuana called cannabis? And whereas said ballot question received sufficient support to pass and created a pathway to legalization of recreational cannabis in the state of New Jersey. Whereas subsequently the New Jersey legislature passed the CREAM, that's C-R-E-A-M-M Act, which created the statutory mechanism for legalization of recreational cannabis and authorized the Cannabis Regulatory Committee, CRC, to adopt rules to effectuate said statutes. And whereas the CRC created 6 recreational classes of cannabis licenses and left authority to individual municipalities as to whether to permit or prohibit any and all of the 6 classes of licenses within their borders. And whereas the citizens of Oakland have not been given the opportunity to vote regarding their opinion on whether or not to allow cannabis businesses within the Borough of Oakland. And whereas NJSA 19:37-1 permits municipalities to authorize by a resolution for a non-binding ballot question to ascertain the sentiment of the legal voters of the municipality or county upon any question or policy pertaining to the government or internal affairs thereof. And whereas the governing body of the Borough of Oakland requests the county clerk to place a non-binding ballot pursuant to NJSA 19:37-1 to ascertain the sentiment of the legal voters of Oakland as to the question of whether they support cannabis businesses operating in the Borough of Oakland. Now therefore be it resolved, the Mayor and Council, Borough of Oakland, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, do hereby submit to the County Clerk of the County of Bergen to place a non-binding ballot question for the November 2023 general election pursuant to NJSA 19:37-1 stating as follows. Do you support allowing businesses to operate in the Borough of Oakland for cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution of cannabis as defined by the New Jersey State statute? And so my question, and I said I had a question to the attorney, and it was brought up by, Ann brought it up, I'm sorry, about why only these 3. Maybe we had a committee, an ordinance, we had an ad hoc committee made up of, you said they were my friends, but they weren't. They were against cannabis actually in the beginning, and they were a different political party. And we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then the ordinance, after much negotiation, we said no retail. We gave in on that. There'd be absolutely no retail in Oakland. We also stated that there would be zoning restrictions, and we did a zoning map. We had so many, remember the colorful zoning maps, and our plan actually outlined all the zoning maps. So now you're asking them, the voters, well, maybe they do want recreational. Maybe they should say all 6 licenses. What about medical? I mean, this resolution is only asking people whether or not they are we should support allowing businesses for cultivation, manufacturing, distribution. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe people really want a retail.
Tammy, if I could.
Yes, that's why I'm saying this is, I think this is not an accurate resolution, that's my point.
I would like to interject something. In reading this and listening to some background concerning this referendum, number one, if we do, and I have some changes to it, but if we do allow the wording, it should mirror our existing ordinance. Because we can't say retail now that our ordinance prohibits it. We'd have to amend it. So what I'm saying is that the wording really has to reflect what our current ordinance allows. However, if I remember, most referendums has an explanatory statement, an explanation statement. I think in the explanation statement, we have to say that this was voted by the state of New Jersey. The Constitution was amended to include this. I think we should put that in there in case people forget that, the state did do this. I think we should say that the ordinance as it exists now does not allow retail. It should say the ordinance now prohibits retail licenses in Oakland. Also, I think we also need to say that by passing this or allowing this in Oakland, it would generate a certain amount of revenue, 2% of the gross profit or gross annual income.
Not the profit, the gross
No,
sales.
gross sales. I think we need to put the full story if we do this. Now, getting back to whether or not we should or shouldn't do it. We've been discussing this since, February, and we discussed it last year. However, when it comes home to roost is when people really start engaging us, or I've been engaged more so since February. I have to say, the majority of those people who do talk to me are in favor of us having some form of cannabis here in town that does allow us to get some revenue. As people have said, it's expensive living in New Jersey. And even in Oakland, and I've always said this, look, we could say every year that the municipal budget is zero, you still have the county tax, the county library tax, the county open space tax, the library tax, the local open space tax. There's 7 parts to your tax bill. So even if we say zero here, it doesn't mean your tax bill's not going to go up because of all these other aspects that get calculated into your tax increase. So, people say, Pat, we do need money in this town. Now, again, I said to them, look, it's restricted to one specific area. And I have to say, and Mike and the rest of the members of the board, of the ad hoc council, no, I was not in favor of it, but I did listen to it. And I have to say, we did compromise on several areas. Maybe there's more compromise to be done, which we can do 3 or 4 years from now when the 5-year limitation ends. And we can do that. Or we could even amend it now and make it more stringent. But I think the referendum lets me know, and I don't know about the rest of the council, I'll only speak for myself. Now that it's home to roost, people are approaching me, telling me whether they're in favor or not in favor of it. I think we need something, like I've always said, I think in the very beginning, when the state made the referendum, if part of the statement said, would you allow retail in your town? I don't know if we'd get 62% in Oakland approving it. We could probably not have done that, but that's not what we have now. What we have now is that there's a constitutional amendment and there's a law in the state of New Jersey, which I take very serious. When I raise my hand and take the oath for a councilman here in town, and part of that oath is I will uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Jersey and the federal government. I take that very, very serious. Doesn't mean we can't tweak it a little bit. But I think, I take that very serious. But I think having a referendum is a good idea because it'll finally, in my mind, put to rest. As long as we say there's going to be no retail in town, the money generated is going to pay down our capital expenditure, which has really put me over the top to vote for the ordinance. I'll say that. If that wasn't
Actually-
included, I probably would have said no.
Actually, that was part of the compromise and the negotiations of the ad hoc committee. The money is earmarked towards certain projects. It can't just go into the general fund.
No
And a certain
project,
amount-
just capital
Yes,
budget.
and a certain number of employees must come as residents of Oakland. And we were very, very specific on those rules. We worked hard on that committee.
Mayor, I will just say that my original draft did include recreational, and I removed it at Mr. McCann's request.
But I think it should mirror what our ordinance says.
It did. That's why I requested it.
He
to be
did actually,
removed.
Mr. McCann did request that I use the exact language that was used on the previous ballot
Correct.
referendum and use the exact language that is in our ordinance.
But I think it's very appropriate to include in an explanation statement, no retail revenue generated used to pay down our debt.
Pat, what you're getting into is argument, and that is for the political process. That is not for the ballot question. So that's for people who want to say, I support it, go out and support it and say the reasons why. That you're tilt, when you put that kind of language in, you're trying to tilt. And I'm going to say this about the money.
We're mirroring the rest.
You know, we each get, what do we get? $6,000 a year, okay, for a stipend for the town. There's about 10% of the towns in Bergen County where the council, the mayor and council work the same way the planning board works, where there's no money, there's no health benefits, there's nothing.
No one gets health benefits.
No, I know, I didn't say you did, okay, but no one does.
You might have here long enough.
No, they did away with it. Christie did away with it.
No, but if you were there before 2008.
Oh,
and served
grandfathered in.
consecutively, your grandfather-
So if the concern is, you know, and in fact, I will say this too, there is no projections for this town. That was one of my problems with the committee. There was no financial projections made. The other problem was they compared the traffic of Oakland, California, excuse me, Sacramento, California, to what was required in Oakland. There was some, that's what they did. It's in the minutes.
I was there at the meeting.
Well, the minutes are wrong, okay? So, I mean, they are what they are. It could be wrong, but the fact is, the fact of the matter is, if we're concerned as a governing body, and we want to hear the will of the people in terms, and you want to save $40,000 this year, and not wait for Grisala Care to get to their maximum, which they said would be 4 years from now, 1.5 million, why don't we put, for discussion purpose for later, the idea of each of us renouncing our stipend from the borough? That'll save the taxpayers immediately $42,000.
Bring it up at the next meeting.
I will.
Bring it up for discussion.
Mayor, I just would also like to note that at the last meeting, there was discussion of whether there was a cost for this referendum for the town.
Oh, there is no cost.
So I
Yes,
reached
yes.
out to Paul Kaufman, who's the attorney for the clerk, John Hogan.
Yes.
And he wrote me back on March 24th, references made to your letter addressed to the Bergen County Clerk, on which I was copied. I discussed this with the county clerk, confirmed the clerk's office does not require payment from municipalities regarding such ballot.
The only problem is this year, there's going to be a referendum, Mr. Kunz, on the open space tax.
Yeah, the current open space tax expires at the end of this year, so we'll have to talk about putting a referendum on to.
Okay, sure, have to.
They will not charge us by the word, I promise.
No, I know. I was told that only if it's a special election
Yeah.
do we have to pay for a referendum. So if we were going to have a special election, let's say in
I
September.
highly advise you don't do that.
No, we're not going to. Okay. So is there a
So-
motion to approve this resolution? Oh, you want to say it? Go ahead, please.
Would it be appropriate to maybe just take another crack at this and maybe just reword a little bit and
Are you moving to table it?
maybe next meeting? I don't know if it's tabling. I don't know, but just have maybe Councilman Pignatelli could talk with the attorney and have his concerns, and then we could maybe come up with something that.
So are you making a motion to table?
No, I don't think so.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn and carry it to the next meeting.
That would be the appropriate motion.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to do?
So I guess adjourn it and work on it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not
Second.
it's not immediate.
So moved.
We
All
have
right.
80
Is-
days
all right,
before the election.
A roll call.
Council members McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Solzinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I'm going to put in my 2 cents on this resolution, too. All right, at this point, we have ordinances.
Well, I thought you meant right now.
My 2 cents?
I thought you meant right now.
No. This is enough already. Okay, final adoption, ordinance 23, code 902, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.14. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak on this? Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Solzinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
23 bond 903, bonds ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements in and by and for the water utility of the Borough of Oakland in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $3,600,000 to pay for the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bonds anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bond. Motion open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Motion closed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Council members McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Solzinski?
Yes.
Palomini?
Yes.
Work session. Revised parking permit parking code. Who is speaking?
Mayor, I can take that. So, as some of you may be aware, there's been sort of an ongoing parking situation down in the Colony neighborhood, and that's really kind of due to the street width and lack of on-site parking for some of the properties down there. So one way that we come up with to address it is to exercise, there's a hardship provision basically in the code related to parking permits. Seldom used, but the language is there, so we think we can use that to, on a case-by-case basis, issue hardship parking permits to residents down in the neighborhood. And when we were taking a look at the code and discussing with the police chief, the language that's there now is very old, it's sort of out of date, it just needs to sort of be tweaked a little bit to reflect that the process really needs to be run by the police department rather than code enforcement, which is as it currently is. So it just kind of changes some things around to reflect that. And I think the last time this ordinance was looked at was probably the 80s or 90s. The fee is $1. We're asking to, make that a $10 parking permit annually. So that's some of the revisions there. It's really meant to facilitate a smoother process to issue hardship parking permits.
Yes, we went down there, we walked around, as everybody knows, the Park Avenue, what's the other street? It's Park and
Riverside.
Riverside. And we walked around and we walked around and we walked around and we looked for spots and so, and to the residents over there, we are working with the police department. It will be something.
I think Mr. Knapp was there, wasn't
Wasn't there? He was on the council.
Am I allowed to talk?
What?
Am I allowed to talk?
No.
Work session.
I said, I was answering Pat, I said, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk.
And we'll be open to the public.
he? Sorry.
All right, the next item is short-term rentals, boarding houses. I brought this up. A while back, we talked about this and we never pursued Airbnb. I had a resident write me a letter about a particular house in a particular area. And I went to her house to look at the house in question. And across the street, she has young children, and across the street from her is a house that goes up, and she showed me the ads for Airbnb. It was a Cape Cod made into a two-family house, which is right away a violation of our code. So, and then I realized we never did pursue this. I know Mr. McCann brought this up a while ago, and we never did pursue Airbnb and what we're going to do about it. So that's why I'm bringing it up. Do you think we should pursue it?
I do.
And
I think we
regulate.
should, boarding home and short-term rentals, absolutely.
Because here she is.
We are a, bedroom community, we're not a resort.
Not that's true. So she was showing me, she has young children across the street. It's a Cape Cod with two distinct, he divided the house for two families, strangers, they're not related, so it's not a mother and daughter kind of situation. And she says it's like a revolving door. Every month there's a different family. It could be both two families, one family. So I think it's time that we start looking into it unless somebody has an objection.
I agree. Nope. Move forward.
Okay, so.
And you have draft ordinances for both boarding houses and short-term rentals that we have discussed previously. If everybody is, comfortable with those drafts, we can just move them forward for introduction at the next meeting.
Can you send them again, please? I'm
Sure,
sorry.
they were in your packet, actually, Pat.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
But if you have any questions or anything, let myself know or let Matt know, and we can work on any revisions that you may.
And I'd love to hear from any of the residents about this issue. If you are on a street where you've noticed this on your particular street, or you know of people who's having problems with this, we'd love to hear from you and give us your suggestions. All right, the next item is the shared service agreement with the Oakland School Board for, and I see we lost the school board member who was here earlier.
There he is.
Where'd he go?
Mr. Sherbo, right there.
No, he was with Pete.
I'm the vice president, Pete Mazzilli's the president.
Right.
Pete had to take a call for work outside.
Oh, okay, should we wait until he comes back in?
No, that's all right. Please
Oh, no?
proceed. That's fine.
Well, I just, for full disclosure, I called Gina Cafaro and spoke with her. She is the superintendent of schools. And I said, because we have a very good relationship, we call each other. And I said, I remember a couple of months ago when school board members came to the planning board, was very upset because they said they didn't get any direct notice about the planning board meeting with the housing going on McCoy Road, right? So I said, I found out that you had a school board meeting. I was in my office, I had court that day, I was coming back in my office, it was after 5, it was almost 6 o'clock, and I got a call from a friend of mine who's a teacher. And she said, there's a school board meeting tonight. I said, oh, they're talking about the, having police in the schools, in the elementary schools, the 3 schools and Valley Middle School. I said, oh, I didn't even know about it. What time is the meeting? She says, I don't know. She's a teacher. She says, I think they meet at 7 o'clock. And I look at my watch, and it's about 6:30. And I call Andrea because Andrea says, oh, it was on Facebook. Now I was in, I really don't read Facebook much, and shame on me, but and I was in court all day, and she says, I think the meeting was at 5 o'clock. So I'm driving around to the school board, where you have the school board, and there's no cars, and then I'm driving by the, she says, go by the cafeteria, no cars by the cafeteria, and then I go in the parking lot, and I see a few cars, and I said, well, this doesn't look like a lot of cars for a meeting, and I go home and I said, I tried calling the superintendent, she didn't call me back, I tried texting her, well, it was after 7, she got back to me, she says, I was at the meeting. So, my question to you is, please, before we talk about shared service, and she said to me, Linda, we're not asking you for any money. We're gonna fund it, but listen, it doesn't matter, it's from Pot A, Pot B, or Pot C. The residents of Oakland are going to pay. So it doesn't matter how you're going to categorize it. Is it the schools, is it the borough, is it the library? It's the tax dollar.
And they're gonna be employees of the town, supervised by our police chief.
Correct. So, I said to her, I wanted to give you full disclosure, it's gonna be on the meeting tonight, which is why I guess she called you to come to the meeting. So I said, what I would like to do is I would like to have a meeting and find out exactly what was said at the meeting. Because I'm getting all hearsay. And I think this is a very important issue that I have to hear it and meet and find out what exactly occurred at this meeting. So I'm asking to, what?
Would you mind if I just answer?
Well, let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I am asking this council to consider adjourning this issue till the next meeting, and in between, we have 2 weeks to set up a meeting between the school board and any members of the council who want to go, and let's find out exactly what's going on. I know you're on vacation this week. And I apologized to the superintendent. I said, I know you're on vacation this week. She said, no, she was working. So that's why she was, I know, available to speak.
Mayor,
So now, yes,
I called the police chief
when?
last week.
Oh, after the meeting?
Yes, yeah, after the meeting. And he explained everything to me. Before I go on, I am in 100% support of it. However, he said that it's going, even if we said yes tonight, it's going to be 2-3 months before people are screened and interviewed. So it's going to be a while. So what I'm saying is, we have time, I think.
Right, so I would like to set up a meeting with the president and vice president and the board and Gina Caparo, the superintendent, myself, whoever wants to go,
Me.
and talk and find out exactly what you're proposing. Because to say that, so don't worry, it's not going to cost the borough any money, but it is, because it's going to cost the taxpayer money. And the rough figure that I heard was $250,000. That was the first figure. Well, I want to know what this is, and I want to know exactly what you're asking. Are you asking for them to come to the schools with guns? I don't know if you want them with guns or without guns. Are you going to be at all 4 schools, the 3 elementary, stuff?
Someday I'll stop.
Take my pen, it doesn't have a clicker. So, we'll switch pens, okay. So, I want to know, is it going to be in all 3 elementary schools and the middle school? I want to know what you're proposing. That's all I'm asking for. So I'm asking for me to please set up a meeting with whoever from the school board, with the superintendent. I will attend. I'm sure Richard wants to attend. Whoever council people want to attend, and we will set it up. And we'll have to advertise it, because if it's more than 3.
Mayor, I think it's pretty obvious that the most precious asset we all have in the town is our kids.
I always say that. That's the most important thing, and I think we have to know what's going on.
Right, and I think it would be, at this stage, after what's been going on in the country for the last several years, it's more or less a have to protect the kids.
Yes, but don't you want to know what they are proposing?
I'm not saying anything
Yeah.
that's opposite to that. I'm supporting. In
I am
fact,
supporting it too, but I want to know.
In fact, I've been involved in another town's agreement
Right.
and how that was structured and how we did it. I'm not sure the amount of money, because that figure is substantially higher, but it was a different financial structure.
that's the whole point.
It's a
That was
different,
what's
it's a
thrown at
different
me.
financial structure. But if we don't protect our kids, no matter what the cost,
Well, I want to know exactly what they're proposing.
we have
So
to protect our
please,
kids.
when he comes back in, Peter comes back in, or Don comes back in,
I can speak.
everybody knows where to reach me.
And then just, if, I'm sure the timing of it was after another shooting. It was very present, and believe me, the board, I'm sorry, I always feel kind of protective of the board, but it wasn't anything that they were doing to slight anyone. They were doing what they felt was needed for the children of Oakland, and as proactively as they can, and making the decision that they it was time. It's been on their minds, and I'm not opposed to meeting with the school board or anything like that. It just it was nothing was done to slight anyone.
Oh, I'm not saying they slighted us. What I'm saying is, I would like to meet and just hear the proposal. And then at the next meeting, we can all be educated, not just guesswork.
Sure.
Okay.
And Mayor, if I can just provide a little bit more context, because the school business administrator and Gina had reached out to me and Keith about this, about what the cost may be. We were providing them with information. As we understood it, the meeting, and a little bit of urgency, has to do with the fact that they needed to modify their budget that's due to be adopted for the 2023-2024 school year, if they're to fund it in that time frame. There's also, I think, some implications on the current budget year overfunding startup costs. So that's why this seems to kind of come up rather quickly, I think. So we are working on providing them with some substantive information in terms of how this works, namely the fact that it has to be a borough employee, and SLE 03 in particular is a retired police officer under the age of 65. They have to have retired within the last 3 years. There's a whole raft of requirements we provided you with some information on.
Well, this is what we would have learned if we weren't told about the meeting. Anyway, thank you. So we will set up a meeting. Thank you.
Does Mr. Scribble want to say something? I don't know.
If I have the opportunity, I appreciate it.
The public session. Can I make a motion to suspend the work session?
Well, we're just, like we answered with the resolution.
Okay.
Let's just,
John Skirbo, 77 Spear Street, the Vice President of the Oakland K-8 Board of Education and liaison to the Mayor and Council. I just want to share this with you all, that on March 28th, we did issue a letter. It went to the Borough Clerk. It's supposed to be posted in the Mayor and Council offices. It's in the newspaper. It's on our website. We had roughly 25 people show up. Chief Sanzari was there. Mr. Coons, you've been a great help through this process and given us a lot of information. We will have 4 officers, SROs. Each one will be in a school. Chief Sanzari will be vetting these people. The psychological testing, everything that they have to go through is to the extreme, and that's what we need to make sure our children are safe and have the right people in our buildings.
thank you.
So we definitely would like to sit and talk to you, but you're absolutely right, we had no option. We have to get our budget in, and we made it a significant change to our budget because it's roughly $250,000 for these officers to be there, and we want them there as soon as possible. So we need to put it in the budget that's being voted, which is part of November, and it has to be submitted to the state. So we will definitely sit and speak with you, but through this process, we have shared with the liaison, I think, a half-an-hour meeting a couple of weeks ago about this. Mr. Coons, you've been talking to us for several years, actually, about this, because we've been trying to figure out the right way
But you
here.
know what, I've always said we've had a good relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Then you came to the planning board, complained that we weren't telling you so. We said, we'll give you notification.
I understand what you're saying.
We're asking for reciprocal notifications, that's all.
But just like the town was notified, okay, with the notification that was put out there, we had about 25 people. The liaison was well aware of it. Mr. Coons has been involved with us. You missed a meeting. That's all I can say to that. The issue with the planning board is a significant impact to the schools.
And you don't think this is significant?
This is an issue that needs to be addressed immediately. You
And we're
didn't
going
attend the
to the
meeting,
next council
and
meeting.
that's the problem. But we will have a discussion further with you as a board. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But this is something that's a priority to us. We need the protection of our children going forward.
But it probably won't be till September anyway. You recognize that.
We recognize that, it's definite, but we want them in there in September.
Sure. There's time to process.
That is our goal.
And I would appreciate the courtesy of letting me know. Thank you.
Understood.
That's all. That's all.
Thank you.
So I'll see you before the next council meeting. 2 weeks.
No, actually, we should be setting up a meeting next week, if
That's what I'm saying, before the next council.
Oh,
meeting.
absolutely, yeah. Whoever would like to attend, we'll set that
Yes,
up.
definitely.
And make that happen. Mr. Coons, do you want us to contact you to schedule a meeting?
I'll reach out to Annette tomorrow morning.
Please.
Thank you.
I appreciate your
Okay.
partnership.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. See, you don't have to click. This pen.
I don't know how you do it.
Not clicking?
I don't know how you do it.
Listen to me, clicks his pen. Can we change pens? Okay. Bush Plaza Park banner. This is the banner.
A little bigger?
It's that small? How are people going to read it?
It's in the, because I had it
It's
printed
in the
out.
packet.
All right, I will put it, you have it, everybody has it. If anybody wants to look at it, Matt?
I've seen it already.
All right. This is the banner. So who, go ahead, Mr. Coons.
I was asked to...
Can I just say something about this? There were 2 people that wanted to talk about on this issue that are not here. That was Mr. Saliani and Mr. Kamala. I would suggest on this issue that we move it to the next meeting to discuss it, so that the people, the liaison who participated speaks on it, and Mr. Khumalo speaks on it.
Okay, all right, so if anybody
Mr. Chair.
wants to get a copy of what the issue is, it says, Kevin Heffernan had said that he designed it, and he designed it with the committee. I had no part in it, just so everybody's aware of it. And it says Mayor Schwager and council announce Bush Plaza Park. Bush Plaza Park I can't even read it, it's so small. Bush Plaza Park Ad Hoc Committee members: Ed Clark, Mike Guadagnino, Lee Hayman, Kevin Heffernan, Tom Connolly, Chairman, Steve Saliani, Council Liaison. And it says Bush Plaza Park coming soon. And there is a picture of the proposed park, which is at the base of Yorpo, where everybody puts up their signs, their banners. And it has a picture of the clock and the lamppost and a flag. And I will leave this out here because it's on my computer too, if anybody wants to look at it later. And that's the issue. I don't know what the issue is, so we'll discuss it at the next meeting, since the request was made.
Can we see a copy of that?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we see a copy of that, or are you just gonna leave it there? Is it on the borough website?
Is it on, I don't think it's on the borough website, so I'll make copies, and, or I can forward it on my computer.
Okay,
Right.
thanks.
Last thing is the proposal for engineering services for Bush Plaza Park project, so it doesn't sound like it should really be because of what Kevin said. I don't know if this is what's gonna happen.
What do you mean?
I don't know, I want to hear from the committee about this. What is this? Proposal for engineering services for Bush Plaza Park project. You're the chairman, could you
Mayor,
just tell
maybe
me?
you want to hear from the borough engineer too? On the
I guess
proposal?
so.
Mayor, this is to take Mr. Clark's design and to put some engineering to it, no disrespect to Mr. Clark, but to put in the, and to format it in such a way and to design it in such a way for it to be bid out to a contractor, so that in accordance with the state law and the public contracts law. And that's what this proposal does.
It's like bid specs?
Yeah. Let me just say, this is bid specs, Mayor.
How much? And
A
that's bottom line?
total of $32,000.
32,000 for bid specs? Am I crazy?
Well, they'd have to do meets and bounds. Or did you do the meets and bounds
The
already?
meets and bounds is done already. Mayor, I could, if this is not acceptable to the board, I could talk to Kevin.
Sharpen the pencil.
I'm asking the chairman of the ad hoc committee.
Tom Connolly, 1 Winding Ridge. Actually, you need to move on this as fast as possible, because quite honestly, if the plan is to build it this year, everyone knows how engineering goes. It goes at a certain pace. So, and now this project, I think the estimate is 300,000?
Give or take?
We have 125, don't we?
240.
You have grant money?
254,000.
Yeah, what's that?
I think it's 254,000.
$1,000.
And we have 125,000.
About $128,000 grant.
Correct, and then we have the 100, then the borough would match the other 128, but the idea was through the banner to start fundraising and, God willing, raise
I have the chamber working
$100,000.
with me on this.
But right now, if you really want to see, let's call it as is, Oakland, we need to do something, because you guys, this is going to be the start of a change for Oakland, a good change for Oakland. You got to get some green space. I got to give kudos to Ed Clark. Ed Clark donated many, many hours of time, and his firm has donated many, many dollars to the borough of Oakland. Thank you, Ed. Everyone knows Kevin Heffernan. He's got a heart of gold. All he cares about is Oakland. That's all he cares about is Oakland, and he wants to leave this place a better place than what it is now. And there's a lot of improvement needed. Let's call it as it is. And I think all the board members, everyone agrees that. I can't tell you how to vote on a price. Again, you know that the estimated cost is between $250 and $275. and the price there is $32,000, I think I heard John said. Tighten the pencil. Kevin Boswell, if you're listening, you know, but again, if you delay, you can delay and wait for 2 weeks, but it just, there's a lot of work that has to be done. The county Bergen's.
Well, this is work session, so he couldn't get the approval anyway tonight.
Okay, so then,
Well, Mayor, with all due respect, I think, you know, we could start on this,
Okay.
and actually start on the design work. And I hear the concerns of the council and the audience. And so, I will, because Kevin and I had a frank discussion on this before we prepared this proposal, so I believe I could go back to them and we could sharpen our pencils.
And it's not really a banner. It's a sign that says coming soon, watch out for it, we're gonna start fundraising. That's pretty much what it says. So anybody who wants it.
It's not a permanent banner, it's not a permanent picture,
No.
it's just while it's being built.
In other
Or
words, it
leading
says it's
into.
coming soon, and then I assume, I was hoping that you would start maybe one of those, what is it, the thermometers with the fundraising, you know, where we want to go. I know, I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce president. We have a lot of ideas on how to, I already got some offers from the big businesses to contribute towards this. So we really do, yeah, so start working and lower the price.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, okay, good. So what do we do for the next council meeting? Yeah, well, he's gonna come up with the price.
And Mayor, if I could, assuming that they can sharpen their pencil, revise the scope, John, I think we can look at the scope a little bit in terms of what is included in phase one and the like. Without objection, if we can move it to resolutions, you'll have it beforehand. That will help expedite the award. Of course, if it's not satisfactory to everybody, then we just pull it and we don't award it in 2 weeks.
Hi, I'd like to say a couple of things. There's a cost for delaying the discussion of the banner until next month. The cost is in the fundraising. We're in April. Next month, May 15th, whatever the next meeting is, we'll have a discussion, a debate, or whatever. And in the meantime, nothing will get done in terms of fundraising. Okay? And the fundraising is going to raise about 100 grand or more. So I think we should discuss it tonight. All due respect to those who are missing, so be it.
Yeah, it's not fair to them, though. And Mr. Heffron, since you care so much about Oakland, quick question. Were you threatening to sue Oakland tonight when you were saying that you copyrighted this and we didn't have a right to take it down?
Oh, no.
I'm just asking a question.
I threatened no one.
Okay. I just wanted, because I thought I heard a threat there.
No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, new business. Old business. Under old business, I'm going to bring up responses to what people have asked for tonight. Okay, water, land use permits. I think we have gone through this already, Mr. Carnes, about the land, what we need, when we need permits for land use for the water, because because of the pads.
Right, so there were wetlands transition area issues and the like that required land use permits for each of the 3 well sites. I forwarded to you, we did receive a positive LOI for well 5. That's a letter of interpretation regarding wetlands impacts that cleared well 5 from any wetlands impacts. I don't know if that's the same as a permit, but I had asked John to talk to his environmental folks, see what they knew of where we stood in the permit process, because I know that the reviewer for the DEP did come and conduct a site visit. They have been in contact with Boswell on it. So John, do you have a bit more of an update on that?
Yeah, yes, I do. So, in answer to your question, well 5, that's essentially an approval that the LOI showed that it was not in a wetlands or wetlands transition area, and they agreed. Well number 10, we have not received any comments thus far. That is in the 58-day review. The DEP has 1 more month on that review, and we expect a permit about a month from now. Well number 10 is in worse shape. That's the DEP lost our check, and we had to resend it. The clock has restarted. That's 90 days from around now. So that puts it to May, June, July. However, that is not the critical path with this project. The critical path is getting the Calgon units here, and they have been ordered. We have yet to get shop drawings. They are not due to arrive here within the borough until the next 7 to 8 months. And that was the original schedule that we had put forth to Oakland several months ago. So things are on schedule, as we had said. The permits are, I'm going to say, a little less than halfway there. And the Calgon units are on schedule to show up around 7 to 8 months. So if you recall, once the permits are in hand, we will be in position to go out to bid to get the pads constructed, and that all construction will be in place, ready to accept the Calgon units 7 to 8 months from now, and we should be up and running, say 9 months from now.
Because this is dealing with land use.
Yes,
bids.
land use permits down to D,
All right.
correct.
All right, someone brought up a water filling station. I think the water and sewer, the water committee is meeting next week, because for full disclosure, I asked to have a meeting with Viola, which is their private water company. Not that I think we should go and sell our water, but I personally believe you should always have all your options available and to hear what they have to say. So the water meeting is next week, and at which point, if you could find out what this water filling station is, we will check
I think
on
it's like a
that.
water buffalo, isn't it? Or am I
I don't know, I don't know
incorrect?
anything about it,
John?
I do not know.
but we're going to find out. Okay. As far as the agenda changing, the order of the agenda, maybe I'm naive, I thought he would ask to change because the attorney was sitting here and he wanted to, I really thought that you were doing it so that, because I know attorneys do get billable hours, and I really thought it was an accommodation to the attorney. I was as surprised as anybody when we left, and I did not, that's why the agenda was changed at the last meeting. As far as the roads go, yes, the roads are a disaster. We have sewer pipes going in, and as the sewer pipes are going in, as of today, a water main broke, was hit. And so there's a lot going on with our roads, and then yes, they will be paved. As far as PSE&G, as I said earlier, I was at a meeting with our Mayor's Roundtable with Congressman Pasquale, and all of the mayors were complaining about when PSE&G comes in, and they put in their pipes, and they only pave half the road. And I recall with Tom Connolly, because he was representing the county at the time, in front of Councilman Pignatelli's house, when PSG, if you remember this, Richard, PSE&G did the piping all along 202, and they said, don't worry, we pave, but we only pave half the road, which is what they do in all towns. And I said it's unacceptable, and with the help of Tom Connolly, we got the whole road paved.
Not just in front of my house, though.
No. Because as all the mayors were complaining, that's what PSE&G does. They pave over where they put the pipe in, and then there are lips, and the road becomes uneven. So we're going to be working on that. Someone complained to me today about Franklin Ave, but Franklin Ave is not a county road, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is, so we'll complain to the county. So
No, you
whoever
are.
wrote to me today, that's a county road. 202 is going to be repaved. All the piping has to be done before we repave, because it doesn't make sense to pave and then they dig again. So that's what's going on with the roads. As far as the, well, we talked about that, and funding. So I am on the phone constantly with everybody I can think of between the governor's office, the DOT, and some state senators. Because apparently, and we are shovel ready, and I tell them all of them, we are shovel ready. And they use that term, shovel ready, correct, John?
Correct.
So our best bet, and this is where we're going to apply the pressure, our best bet is the federal government has given money to the DOT. And that's where we're trying to get the money, because that'll be the best way and the fastest way to get the funding. So,
What's the status of that? Like,
What is the status of that?
Yeah, have we
Kevin
applied for it?
Boswell was supposed to put a call in for me as a follow-up. He didn't get back to me because that state senator, who is an overseer of the DOT, didn't get back to him today. When I get a response, then I will let everybody know.
I will
But
text
yes.
Kevin.
Yeah, yes, that's what I did today with him. So that's where we are, and also Senator Holly Shapizi contacted us about, did we get any funding? And the answer is, no. So we're gonna be working with that avenue also. So every avenue we have, I don't care if people are stepping on each other's toes, we're going forward.
Have you spoken to Senator Shapizi's office?
Just today.
Yeah.
And some other senators, which, let's not go into names, so. And our assemblyman, Bob Worth is pretty good. He usually follows up for us. That is my old business. I think I answered all the questions of people who asked. And with that, does anybody else have old business?
Is there anything with Allen Brook?
Yes, we got some good news today, and I relayed them to Charlie. We got I'm going to call it a favorable response from the DEP with regard to working within the brook. I got that late today, so we're moving ahead with advertisement, and we're going to be getting into the brook as quickly as possible. But I sent an email to Dennis Contois at the DOP, who's head of land use, and he had no issue with us working in the brook within the documents I sent him that was prepared by Agnoli Engineering. So that was some good news we got today.
Right, so Nick is no longer,
Part of it.
No,
no, he's gone.
no.
He's out of it. All right, let's go with reports. Councilman?
Sure. What can I say, the Easter egg hunt. Just thank you to my wonderful Public Events Committee and Access for All. I think it was very well attended, even though it was postponed. Thank you for the messages, Mayor, telling everyone that it was postponed, and it just, once again, just better than last year, and that's our goal. And I think with Access for All, we're like I said, we've teamed up, and it's a nice marriage. And thank you to Krausers for the muffins. What should we call it? Councilman Saliani and I were handing out. There was bubble blondes, and so he was joking that we were with bubbles and muffins, but it was a fun day. Everybody had fun. I don't think anybody went away empty-handed. The bunny was there. We had the train ride.
And the train, what happened? The train came late?
It was. It came, but it came
broke down.
Delayed.
But it came.
It was a New Jersey Transit train.
Engineering issues.
But again, thank you to the wonderful committee. Without them, my goodness, what would we do?
Do you want to bring up the carnival?
They're great. Do I want to bring up the carnival? If Chopper would like to speak on the carnival, I would
Defer to him.
defer to Chopper.
Okay. Let me stand up over there.
This is the biggie.
No, I just don't want to mess this up. All right, so the carnival this year will be the Wednesday through Saturday after Father's Day. So it'll be Wednesday, the 21st, to the Saturday, 24th. Wednesday night and Thursday night are from 6 to 10. Friday is 6 to 11. And then Saturday is 5 to 11. We're going to have a special session for Access for All from 3 to 5.
On Saturday?
Yes, and they're going to bring at least 200 people. And we're all set up. We just got to get the Bill Reese, the carnival provider, his wife passed, so we've got to. He needs a little help on getting us the contract. Otherwise, we're all set. We already worked out with the fire department. There was an issue last year about the way the tents are set up. Danny took care of that with Denny. There's going to be a 5-foot buffer from the cooking area to the serving area. So it'll be like a no access zone. So we're by code. Other than that, it's good. We got the bands coming, and then we'll do a pre-sale. Okay, you don't really save money. It's just you don't have to wait online. People in Oakland are impatient, like the people at Walt Disney, so we try to get everyone through.
No fireworks.
No fireworks. Ally, it's not good for the environment, right?
It's not her, not me, it never was. Bring it back.
No, no fireworks. Between the costs and the losses, I mean, listen, knock on wood, I don't want to give us the malaika. We get rained out, we're in trouble. Remember that for Oakland Public Events, the only fundraiser that we do is the Carnival, and it provides for all the different events. The Easter egg hunt, Fever Pitch, the Memorial Day Parade, Halloween, we're doing the cleanup, and
The parade
what
of
else are we
lights.
doing? Oh, arts and the lights, Toys for Tots. Oh, we have the Christmas tree and menorah.
And the parade of lights.
Oh, yeah, Danny,
Yes.
parade of lights.
Yep.
All right, so, yeah, that's the only reason. You know, it's more than the 15,000 just for the fireworks. It's the additional DPW, police. We lose 300 parking spots, you know.
Have you ever, has public events thought about doing it as a separate event? I thought we talked about maybe like in
Yeah, if you
September.
can get some fundraising, I know Great Oak Park, but we don't want to do it there because it's not safe.
Fireworks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's trees. I mean.
Yeah, you got your trees there, so.
It's a tree around.
And then we're checking, Andrew's trying to get us some drones, but they're friggin' expensive. What, these drones are over 30
We can
grand.
light up the bridge.
Yeah.
So, listen, on the 4th of July, Macy's does a great job. Just put it on Channel 7 or whatever.
Horrible.
What?
You can fireball my front yard, I don't care.
That's a great
Thank
day.
you,
You can watch
Councilman.
Joey Chestnut.
Carnival update.
That's our carnival update.
And then,
Thank God I did the dates, because, you know.
and just with the schools, we will be meeting to discuss the, Dr. Farrell had asked me to read
You'll follow up.
something the class 3 officers, but once we have the meeting, I'll read it at the next meeting.
Good, excellent.
And
And we'll go forward from there.
And just again, for those of you who don't know, I was on the school board before I was on the council, and really it was one of the greatest things I was ever part of, being part of the Oakland K-8 Board of Education. And they do it's a hard job. They do a lot of work, and it's really it's about the kids, nothing else. They're there for our kids, and they do a great job. They really do. They work very hard. They go to the conventions, and they get the information, and they bring it back, and they apply it to the schools. And I just have so much respect for the Oakland Board of Education and what they do. Thank you.
Councilman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. For the senior citizens, they will be hosting a presentation on prepping for travel on Thursday, April 20th at 11:30 a.m. Lunch will be provided. However, please RSVP by April 14th, which is 2 days from now. The senior citizen will be hosting the second round of our Domino's Clinic on Tuesday, April 18th from 12:30 to 1:30. They will also be co-hosting with the Oakland Chamber of Commerce in the event Bingo de Mayo on Thursday, May 4th at 12 p.m. We'll be having lunch, bingo, and prizes. There is no cost to attendees, but we do ask individuals to RSVP by 4/28 by calling the center at 201-405-7731.
This is the Chamber of Commerce working together with us. We're finally getting it together.
And something dear to my heart, and I'm sure dear to Allie's heart, is Hazardous Waste Disposal Day. I know we're all environmentalists. We're environmentalists, that's all I can say. Hazardous Waste Disposal Day. We want to get hazardous waste out of our environment. What, pardon?
Not fireworks.
It's going to be at Bergen Community College from 9 till 3. I suggest you get there early. Gas, oil, herbicides, pesticides, anything that's hazardous, bring it there. No tires. No, I think they do collect fluorescent bulbs though, but no tires. Extremely important. Hazardous waste disposal day, this Sunday, at the 16th, at Bergen Community College from 9 until 3. Please look where you have old paint, bring it to Bergen. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nothing on police, nothing on administration. Oh, there's administration, yes. We had authorized our borough attorney to look into the issue where Boswell Engineering got their environmental permits emailed to them, I think it was September, October. And we were telling the mayor and council in entirety was representing to the public that we were waiting on our permits, and we discovered later that we had the permits sitting in the emails. And we asked the borough attorney to do an investigation. I've asked him, what's the update? He says DEP is not being cooperative in terms of trying to respond to his email requests. One of the options we have, if they continue to be non-compliant, because we really need to get to the bottom of this. We're telling the public we don't have permits, and we had the permits sitting in their email. That's not acceptable. So if give them some more time, but I think what we want to introduce maybe at the next meeting, it'll be another couple of weeks, the concept of putting together an ad hoc committee. It wouldn't actually be an ad hoc committee. It would be a committee that we can do by resolution. It's a special committee by New Jersey statute that allows us to have subpoena power and allow us to subpoena the DEPs for the compliance with our requests. It's just something for us to think about in the interim. Access for all, they're going to be I will be there at the Carnival. We were there last year. It's just, the response was great last year. I'm sure it's going to grow even more. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. For the Oakland Communications Commission update, the newsletter committee is searching for additional volunteers to become writers, editors, and photographers. You can contact me or email Chairman Schwertfeger at occ@oakland-nj.org. If you have any story ideas or potential submissions, please fill out the form online on the OCC webpage or on the borough website, or email the newsletter committee at oaklandnjnewsletter@gmail.com. We had several people come forward with interest to join this committee in recent weeks, so we want to thank those for joining. The Welcome website and social media committee continues to work on creating a borough welcome packet. If you have interest in this initiative, please consider joining, as your input would be greatly welcomed. The television committee is also looking for volunteers, especially for those who have editing experience. Please ensure that you subscribe to the borough's YouTube channel at Oakland Borough for the latest videos and to see archived borough council meetings. The Bulletin Board Committee would like to hear from nonprofits in town so you could be promoted on the Oakland TV Bulletin Board. This committee is also searching for volunteers. The OCC will hold their next meeting on May 1st at 7:30 here in Council Chambers. For my library update, the library has a new website that's much easier to use and is now smartphone compatible. We encourage those to check it out. Tomorrow night, there is a board meeting at 7 p.m. At the library, which is open to the public. Jiggly Wiggly Music Time is this Friday at 11 a.m. Registration is required, and Qigong is on Saturday at 9:30 a.m., 9:30 in the morning. This Sunday at 2 p.m. on the library stage, they will have Tony Bennett and Bill Evans, the legendary recordings. Registration is also required.
I thought it was really
It's just, On Sunday, April 30th at 3 p.m., they will host the Ramapo Valley Chamber Ensemble. Registration is also required. They also have all of the regularly scheduled story times and activities. Visit the new website for details on those as well as and all the new e-resources you can get for free with your library card. That's it.
Thank you. Motion to open to the public.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hello, Mike Guadagnino, 34 Harper Street. I'm going to say that, first off, I have known Kevin for a very long time. Kevin is all about Oakland. Kevin would never sue the town, and Kevin, you cannot bully Kevin. Kevin's not going to stand there and be bullied. Now, as for the Bush Plaza is going to be a three-level process. This is just phase one. We hope to take the whole corner and just green space it and just open it up and make it the center of, as Tom said, the continuation of the beautifying the town. Board of Education. I've known, also John I've known a really long time. I've known P2 a long time. But John and I worked a long time ago, another lifetime ago, with Vince Letitia. I'd be remiss not to say Vince meant a lot to Oakland. I mean, we had our differences, but Vince gave a lot of time. And Vince really is a special person to Oakland. If you remember, maybe about 6-7 years ago, we brought Vince back and we gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award for recreation. So we'll put something up on the SAO if Michael wants to share it in the borough. It's very sad that I didn't know he passed away.
I just found out, someone called me in my office, said, did you do a Vince Letitia?
Yeah,
I said, oh
everybody
my
knows
God,
Vince.
where is he? He's in Delaware.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of gave us our opening into the borough and into recreation. So it is very sad. And we had some differences, but over the years we patched them up. And I didn't hear from him this Easter. Usually Christmas time, Thanksgiving, we exchanged text messages. He's down in Delaware. So he really is a special person. I also want to say to the Board of Education, thank you, because the common denominator, it seems, this is my profession, but is soft targets, and you're going to harden the schools, and that's great. And I'm really very happy to hear that. Very, very happy. Thank you. If you're going to do the resolution, I hope you can do the language for the cannabis that reflects the ordinance. I mean, it's political. It's not being, if it's got to be on a ballot, it's political. So it should really have the correct language. And the last thing is, have you guys tried tweeting Congressman Pasquarello? He's a very active, he has a very active team, and you can tweet him. Now, seriously, you want to tweet at him, and they respond. So maybe you might want to try using.
His name is
I'm lucky I can text.
Ian Godfrey is his age.
Yeah, that's why you got a young guy here. And you got Ryan in there, too.
Yeah. Good guy.
He's the direct person.
He doesn't respond.
Ian doesn't respond to you?
No.
Nope.
You just embarrass him. Just go on Twitter.
We
and
asked
just
for a
tweet
letter
him.
writing campaign to him. I went to him and asked, who can I write to? Where do I reach out?
I
Radio
will call him
silence.
tomorrow and
Thank you.
say this. Promise.
And thank you to the three who voted for Kusala. We're going to see the process that the ad
And
hoc
I'll
committee.
see what the planning board meeting
Yeah,
says.
well, it's the process. Like I said, they're not going to just start selling tomorrow, growing tomorrow. There's another process. They've got to fulfill. They have to keep working their way. This was just the first step, and it's good to see that the great work of the ad hoc committee is now being put into fruition. Thank you.
Michael Elston, 78 Manitou.
Hi.
I usually come up, I always have accolades and nice things to say. So the Board of Education, so the ordinance is all ready? Like is the ordinance better?
Ordinance of what?
For the schools, for the police officers in the schools.
I don't know.
Has it been filed or?
Well, it's a shared service agreement. I've been working on
Okay.
a draft of it. It has not been finalized, but that should be finalized shortly.
Oh, so you came to the meeting without it being finalized? And how long ago was
Certain
it?
information that we just don't have at this time. to
We
finalize.
will be meeting,
No,
we're
no,
going
well,
to meet with
let
them.
me finish,
Okay.
please, Mayor.
Sorry.
I've come here personally, spoke to you 4 times about the Ramapo Indian Hills High School Board of Education and 2 times on the K through 8. And my answer was, I can't do anything, the Board of Education, I can't do anything about it. That was exactly from you.
It's true.
Then I came in and asked Mr. Talamini, what's going on? We lost our ability to vote on the school budget. He says, well, the school budget, they voted, so it's none of us. So The agreement, why can't the agreement be signed? Because it's about our children, because if you go involved and you can't do anything before, why would you convolute, unless you don't trust the police or you don't trust the Board of Education, why wouldn't you just go full speed ahead and sign it as soon as possible if they say they got rigid timelines?
Because if I'm going to sign something, I want to read what I'm signing and know what is in that paper.
Well, you're not saying that, you're saying let's set up a meeting and then we'll figure it out what's going from there.
It's
You
2
can't just
weeks.
read
We
it.
have a council meeting in 2 weeks.
I think
We are
just
gonna
about
meet with them.
everybody here said, well, the most important thing is our children. My children, my daughter's in that school, and I went to that meeting, and that was one of the best Board of Education meetings I ever went to at 5 o'clock. They went over everything. And I think the last thing you said, you want to know how much, it doesn't matter which pot it comes out of, you know, we got to tell people what they're going to be charged. $24 per household on an average of 551,000 for armed guards in every single school. What more do you need? Like, why can't you just read it tonight?
Because I don't have it to read. That's the problem.
It's just, well, I'm just saying, it just seems like a constant thing, and then it bubbles up, and then it turns into a circus. Instead of waiting 2 or 3 meetings to do something as important as our children, don't kick it down the road. Everybody, the very first, as soon as the subject's brought up, very first, somebody's hand's gonna go up. Let's push it off to the next meeting. Let's push it off, every subject. It's kind of important. And it should have been already drafted, depending on when they said it. I mean, I was at that meeting. Should already been drafted and it should already be signed.
It will.
Thank you.
You okay?
Matt Goodrich, 72 Hiawatha. Mr. McCann, touch on you volunteering to give up your stipend. So the volunteers of this town, fire department, EMT, so they get LoSAP, you know, very small, minute amount of money, you know, for serving a certain amount of hours over a year. You know, so for the first aid squad, it's a lot of hours.
I'm familiar with LoSAP.
Right. Okay. So you know, so it's a lot more time than what the council puts in. I can promise you that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, so I would say, so to piggyback on what you said there, maybe the council should have rules that we have to follow. You know, so they should have to attend a certain percentage of meetings, like the entire meeting. You know, and show up at their committee stuff and do all that in order to get their $6,000. I mean, I do find it a little appalling that the council gets $6,000 a year, and me, I go in the back of an ambulance, you know, and I'm surrounded by COVID and all sorts of good stuff, and I get, you know, $1,400, you know, that I can't touch until I retire, which that's fine too. But you know, it's a little silly. But you know, maybe that's something at the state level that should be addressed, not so much locally. And then, so I'm curious why you would have abstained to the Casala Care resolution after you've tried unsuccessfully, may I add, for months to what appeared to be bullying them and their business away. You berated a resident, you berated the mayor, a councilman, a former councilman, several residents of the borough who served on this ad hoc committee. Your move tonight was nothing short of cowardice, and again, I'm going to ask you to resign from the council. Thank you.
So, well, that's my point. He's directing his comments at me, and that's inappropriate.
But it's not a debate.
No,
Afterwards, you can speak.
you don't control the meeting.
Yes, I do.
Well, why
What do you mean I don't control the
why
meeting?
do
You
you speak?
control the meeting?
No,
Since when do you control the meeting?
No,
This
Mayor,
is for
the
open
decorum.
comments.
Okay.
No, open comment. At the end
Yes.
of open comment,
Yeah.
you can make your comments.
Thank
Which
you.
is when people ask questions, I made notes and then repeated it during old business. So right
Well, you
after the
spoke on my
comments,
behalf the last time
on
around.
behalf of, just to keep decorum, let them speak. Right after they speak, you can make all the comments you want. Go ahead.
Hi, Allie Fleeson, 224 Hiawatha. I'm here to, on behalf of the Green Team, a couple things. As Andrea said, our first Sunday hike, the next one is May 7th. The Styrofoam Drive is April 22nd from 9 a.m. to noon at the Municipal Building. The first hour is Oakland residents only. The rest of it's for anybody in Bergen County. We have the Great Oak Park bird watching. It's 7:30 a.m. at Great Oak Park. Following that, we will be able to view the HBO Real Sports World Series of Bird Watching event at the library. after the bird watching event, there's a World Series of bird watching, and we've gotten permission from HBO to watch that. Some of the teacher that is running the bird watching, he was part of that. It was hosted in Bergen County with the Bergen County Audubon. So that's kind of fun. Also, May 13th is an additional bird watching event at Great Oak Park, again at 7:30 a.m. And the other thing that I wanted to address is the Green Team has been in existence since, I believe, 2009. We were established by resolution. I would like the council to establish us by ordinance. Every year we have to reestablish, we have to then have everybody reappointed annually. I think that we have proven that we care about Oakland, we care about the environment, we care about socially, we care about various projects that we've been doing, from the arts to the styrofoam drives to the cleanups to the plantings in town, and I think we've worked hard and we deserve to be established by ordinance. Thank you.
Chaparuso, 392 RVR. I have to back alley on that, as I was a chairperson on the Green Team. Thanks to somebody over there that put me in. I learned a lot. DEP, from different dealings, don't expect progress. That's what that acronym means. So, I mean, I'm not shocked by what you're dealing with. On the short-term rentals, I understand we don't want a transient community. I know we're against the Airbnb or what have you. I would say, because we do have situations, I get calls all the time, who has a fire, you know, if you can make it that you could have short-term of, I guess, a minimum of a month, then that could beat up the Airbnb thing. I would ask you to take that into account, all right? We
I'm
get people.
sure if there was an emergency.
Mayor,
It
the
could
way
be something.
the way the draft is worded, it defines short term as 30 days or less, so anything over 30 days would be
Good.
permitted under the ordinance.
Okay, good.
Well, that's a
Because you
regular
know,
rental.
this Airbnb situation came up in 2018. And Hagberg at the time went door knocking and shut it all down. I'm glad you guys voted for the cannabis. We're gonna lose the lawsuit. There was just no way about it, all right? And, you know, today we voted on 3.6 million for our bad water, you know, and then we're gonna need $250,000 for the police officers. So, you know, our taxes are high enough. It values your real estate. I'm just giving you a little plug there. You know, the higher the taxes go, the more the values go down. I'm totally not about this non-binding thing on the cannabis. You guys already had the ad hoc. We already voted for it. I don't understand the reason for it, all right? And to the lady's point, I know you're going to restrict it, but now it could open the door to retail. Have you been down Route 17?
Yeah.
I mean, they're banging them up. I mean, they got security guards and everything. And then they got the drive-through by that place, Satin Dolls. Bobby,
Not that you know about.
Where's that now?
I saw Bobby now. Anyway. And one last thing, Kevin. John's Kevin went to the same high school as you. Maybe you get a discount.
What was that?
I went to the same high school.
Boswell and Heffernan went to the same high school.
Oh.
Good evening, Craig Donat, 5 Hunters Run. Patriots Way Bridge. I appreciate the efforts. Mayor, you said for years, I'm looking for funding, I'm looking for funding. We're not getting the funding.
You're
I mean,
getting
you're
a bridge.
trying,
But you're
right?
gonna get a bridge anyway.
But what are we doing? Because you said, I remember we were at a meeting at Valley Middle School, and the statement was, if I don't get the funding, we're gonna bond you to get your bridge. That was how many years ago? Enough, enough. Because if, God forbid, someone gets seriously injured or killed, it's on everyone's conscience. I beg of you. I beg of you, please, enough. I appreciate your efforts trying to find funding, but it's not coming. Let's accept it. You said you're gonna bond it, let's bond it. That's number one. The Board of Education guy? Thank you. Thank you. I have 3 kids in Manitou. It is a big deal. Find the money. Find the money to get the guards there. I don't wanna hear you need to another meeting. You don't need to another meeting. Mayor, I appreciate you need to read it. And as a good lawyer, you would always want to know what you're signing, so I appreciate that. But they need to get into their budget. Do it before the next meeting so they get into their budget. Because if, God forbid, something happens, the attorney knows, coming after you guys. So I beg of you, find the money. You guys budget for September, right? Find the money to get an officer there next week until they get in, so
I
they
don't
can do
think
what
they
they
were
have to do.
gonna, I'm not sure when they were going to do it. That's
But
why-
you understand my point, Pat, right? There needs to be a sense of urgency, and I don't feel there's a sense of urgency,
There is, there is,
right?
100%.
Because you know, every town, there's stuff happening.
But they all have to be interviewed.
No, I know.
Psychological
I know.
testing.
I know. But you understand what I'm,
Yeah, I
like, just,
understand.
we can't just keep going on.
I understand.
Thank you.
You're getting a bridge.
187 West Oakland Ave. I really think you guys need to come up to the times. Retail has been around since the 70s. Get over it. Anybody can get it. Why not make money off it? And you know what? If we set up some retail stores here, it's safe. You don't know what our kids are buying. And I'm telling you, the Valley School kids are coming in with rolling papers. They are getting it. If they get it from, I mean, they're too young. Your brain's not fully formed till you're 25. And they shouldn't be smoking it, but they are. So at least let's make it safe. You know, God only knows where they're buying it from, but they're getting it. I mean, we got it, we grew it. This has been going on for as long as I can remember, since I was in my 20s. Bring in some retail. It's safe. It's going to make us money. It's not going to be harmful to the community. And putting things off and tabling things and arguing back and forth, that's not getting anything done. Really. Come here. Come here. Mr. McCann.
Oh.
Please apologize to her.
For what?
For the nasty, insultive way she was treated.
In your opinion?
No. No, sir.
I disagree with your opinion.
All right, order. It's not a debate. You spoke. He
You
will
know
make
what?
his comments after you speak.
A gentleman admits when he's wrong.
Agreed.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You missed my whole.
I missed Pete Mazzelli, 48 Cherokee Trail, member of the Board of Ed, K through 8 here in Oakland. So I apologize. I did have to miss the most interesting part, I guess, of
It wasn't
our
that
thing.
interesting.
But I just wanted to take 2 minutes, first of all, to thank the comments, the positive comments from everyone, members of the public. Really, really appreciate it. You know, these safety officers, this is not a knee-jerk reaction. This is something we've been studying and working on and planning for a very long time. Now time has become of the essence, obviously, with what's happened. And so, you know, we'll wait for the council to catch up with us, but you know, this is being fully funded by the board, by the district, not by the town, fully through grants, through fiscal responsibility, and so I want the public to know that.
There was a
that
grant out there. I
it
heard
is-
that from Pasquale today, from the congressman. What
There-
was the grant
I-
I told you, Richard?
For school security measures?
Yeah.
Yes, there's a grant.
We're all over it. I mean, this, you know, the way that we're able to, you know, fund this district through responsibility, through grants, is really amazing, and it's really the leadership of our superintendent and her team. We just sit back and watch. The only thing I really wanted to say was,
And the
please.
agreement will be ready before the next meeting.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and on the timing, if there are questions, you know, we want to have officers in place for the next school year, but there is a process to hire them, and that process needs to start now. And whenever there is an event, like one that just happened in Nashville, schools, now you're competing for resources. And so time is of the essence for us to be able to move forward with
Appreciate
this.
that, thank you.
What I really wanted to say was budget meeting, April 27th, Valley Middle School, 7 p.m., okay, open to the public. Obviously, it's a public meeting, so if you want to hear about the presentation about the budget, the money that we're spending, where it goes, where it comes from, please attend. We really appreciate when people come out and show
What
interest.
time will the meeting be?
7 p.m.
In what area of the school?
Valley Middle School, cafeteria.
Okay, that's
No,
all
no,
right.
that's okay. Hold me to the details, that's fine. Good. So, thank you, appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ann Cedar, 33 Winding Ridge. Sorry, I was going to actually say something to you, but I didn't mean to cut. I know you were walking over there. But I just wanted to thank you for speaking up during, I don't agree with what you said, but I appreciated that you spoke up and voiced your opinion and your thoughts. And I just think that's really important for the council to do during these meetings so that we understand where your mind is, what you guys are thinking, and then, you know, so that was really important for me, so I appreciate that you did that. I did want to say something with respect to that. Like I said, I assumed you guys were going to do the ballot question, right? But I still, I respectfully disagree that you can put 2 questions, you can put 3 questions on there. You can word it with your ordinance, the question so that it's in line with your ordinance, but if you're doing a referendum and you're looking to see what the public actually thinks, you have to put it all on there. And that includes all of the other licenses, that includes the retail. You can make it a 2nd question, you can make it a 3rd question, but if you're looking to actually find out what the public thinks and wants, you can't just put what you've already decided, which is the ordinance, right? Because then you're just looking for a rubber stamp, like, oh yeah, the public wants us to do what we already did. So I'm asking that in the next 2 weeks, since this has been moved, that you guys really consider the additional question, or however many, and ask the question of the town, since you're going to be doing it anyway. I still think we don't need this. That was the first thing, but if you're going to do it. So those are my 2 cents on that. Thank you, sorry. And I was going to echo what you said about Mr. McCann abstaining after all of that. It was, I mean, just to not have the balls to vote no after what you've done for the last, how many meetings has this been?
It's been 2 months.
2 months?
February 8th.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, why go through the charade? That's all this was. It was an absolute.
you think it's-
Don't
All right,
interrupt me.
stop,
You did that the first time. Don't do it again.
Don't yell.
Stop.
Don't
It's
yell.
not a debate.
Don't
raise your
Order,
voice.
it is not
Don't raise
a
your voice.
debate, it is for public
Don't raise your
comment.
voice, control yourself.
Please,
You
Ann,
know-
stop it.
Oh.
Stop. Stop, control yourself.
Yeah, don't raise your voice.
Don't talk to me.
At this point,
I don't know
stop.
who you think you are.
Don't raise your voice to me.
Don't talk
All
to
right,
me
Ann,
like
Don't raise your
that.
voice to me.
Please.
You will not
stop it.
speak to me like that again.
You will not raise your voice to me.
I didn't raise my
I
voice
did,
until
it's
you
unfair.
were. I'm not done.
Go, finish.
And
All right.
I don't need your permission to
All right,
finish.
please, it is open
You're yelling
comments
again.
from the
Yeah, I
public.
am.
This is not the time for
Don't
the
yell.
council to speak. So
What are you
please,
yelling
Ann,
for?
continue, and address it to everybody.
No, I'm
Again.
addressing it to him.
Well, then-
My comments are for him.
You're yelling again.
Stop. At
I
this
think what's
point-
most appalling is that you don't have the confidence to accept what you put out, what you're getting what you put out. You can't even take open public comments without being snarky and rude and completely unprofessional. That's what this is for. All of your little facial expressions that you make during this, everybody sees it. It's completely unprofessional. If you can't handle yourself and you can't accept a public's opinion, don't be on the council.
You're raising your voice again.
All right,
Yeah,
stop.
I am. I don't need you to tell me that.
It is public comment,
You're raising your
please,
voice.
please.
I am.
Why?
Because you deserve it.
And
Because
don't
you don't-
debate.
because you don't know how-
Stop debating, just
I'm not
speak.
debating. I'm not allowed
Now
to
you're
speak.
yelling at the mayor. It's great.
I'm not.
She's not yelling at me. So just everybody calm down, say what you have to say, and then you will speak afterwards.
I've said what I've had to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Motion to close?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to repeat something. This is a follow-up to what Ann was saying and what Maine was saying. This was from the Bergen County Prosecutor, Mark Masella. After, I'm sure you all read, it was about a month ago, where the people that worked at Riverside Square
Yeah.
died from the
Cocaine.
OD. One
Yeah.
died, I don't know about the others. He said, across the country, fentanyl has been found in every type of drug on the street, Masella said. You have to assume that any drug, whether in powder, pill, or vegetation, that is bought on the street or that is shared on the street contains fentanyl and it can kill. And that's why we're trying to stop that by having state-regulated agencies. Anyway, now you can comment before we move on. Do you want to comment?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And it's not a debate.
So I agree with one of the comments that was made a few minutes ago. It's great when someone speaks up and voices their opinion, of course, unless it's an opinion that you disagree with. Right? So I find that interesting. The question comes up as to apologies. That night, I apologized to Mr. Pigliatelli because I did something wrong. And as a gentleman, I apologized. As a man, I apologize because I acknowledge that I did something wrong. However, my interaction with one of the members of the public, when the member of the public, as displayed moments ago, was out of control, raising her voice, putting words in my mouth, will never be tolerated. I won't accept that. I don't treat you that way, and you shouldn't treat me that way.
Please be quiet. He's speaking. Let him speak now.
So, as it relates to the vote and the abstention, I was advised legally I should abstain from the vote because it's been raised there was a potential conflict of interest. So it's not a question of temerity. It's a question of doing the right thing for the town. I find the fact that we have political disagreements and other people can come up and say this and say that, things that frankly just aren't accurate. As it relates to the Cannabis Committee, I stand by my comments. The original comments were as we worked for 5-6 months, we discovered that there were 3 months worth of meetings that were recorded with a 4th month of 2 meetings that were not recorded. There was zero financial projections. There was no evaluation and concern for the public health inputted or documented by the committee. The committee, in my opinion, failed numerous ways, including not even considering the money was the big argument. Well, wait till you see your automobile rates go up. Not by, $24 a year in your taxes, but by a couple $100 a year on your insurance rates after this law permeates New Jersey. And I ask you, what is the cost to one family from someone buying a gummy from one of our manufacturers and distributors, okay, whose son or daughter becomes hooked or addicted or a teenager, as acknowledged tonight, they're getting it. So you want to say, here, get some more. I just disagree with you guys. It's not my belief. Finally, to the comment of freedom and liberty, you are supporting the people who backed this law across this country, starting in California, was left-wing ideology, George Soros, who put money into this state for the same purposes, to pass this law throughout the state. So, although we may believe in freedom and liberty, okay, you need to do your homework on the origins and the beginnings of the pro-cannabis movement beginning in California with the George Soros funding. I am a Republican conservative, and I am proud of that. I will not support left-wing ideology.
All right, this is political.
I'm answering the questions.
Nobody asked you.
Listen, I can talk politics up if I want.
Nobody asked you.
I didn't ask you.
All right, stop. Let him finish.
It's not your right to ask.
Stop
You work for me, remember that.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop debating. Let him finish so we can move on.
Right. And finally to you.
Yeah.
I got a question. On that committee, Cannabis Committee, what were the specific things you did? Because outside of your name appearing...
This is not a debate.
In the
The
attendance?
Cannabis Committee is not an issue.
There's nothing,
It's not a debate.
there's no
Are
content
you
relating
finished
to
with
you.
your comments?
So I don't know what you
Are you
did.
finished with your
Yeah, I
comments?
didn't really do much.
Excuse
didn't
me,
do much.
Matt.
That's accurate.
Matt,
Okay, that's what I
stop.
thought.
Yeah. I actually do what you do on the council. Nothing.
Matt,
Okay.
Matt.
So you did nothing on the Cannabis
Not
Committee?
a debate. It's closed to the public. Let him finish his comments. Are you finished?
Almost.
I'm sorry, Mayor, but he interrupts everybody else, so
Yeah, no,
what's
no.
good for the goose is good for the gander,
All right, let's move on. Are you finished? Almost finished?
No, I'm glad he acknowledged.
All right, are you finished?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right, motion for Bill's resolution that,
Those to be paid.
bills to be paid. Unless where we are.
Bills to be paid, $1,236,118.70. So moved.
Second.
If you read the bills list, you can vote. Roll call.
Councilmembers McCann?
Yes.
Pignatelli?
Yes.
Solzinski?
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting is April 26th at 7 o'clock.
And a whole 7 minutes.